your God create hell? Yes or no?
She said yes.
Yes.
Okay. Does your God create the rules of the universe, including the criteria by which souls are judged?
Yes.
Does anything happen that doesn't go according to your God's will?
No.
Then your God is ultimately responsible for everything, including the people who he sends to hell.
That is so messed up. I mean,
Yeah, that logic stuff, it's a real pain in the ass, isn't it?
No. World War II caused by religion? No. Korean War caused by religion? No. Vietnam War caused by religion? No.
I've noticed in my studies of history that every single civilization that pops up, no matter where or how isolated, has a religion. I don't know if there's any exception, but that seems to be the rule for me. I was wondering where atheism ever comes into play historically, if there's any societies that have had higher rates of atheism, or, you know, maybe you have answers as to where it originated.
Well, I'll give you one such example, and that is the former Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union tried to, for 70 or so years, impose atheism on the populace. And when my friend Ravi Zacharias went over there a number of years ago and started talking about God and truth, he got a lot of pushback because they were trained to believe there is no God. And many of them believed there was no God. And Stalin, as you know, and Lenin, and those kinds of leaders, both those leaders on different occasions, it was probably more Lenin, now that I think about it, they bulldozed churches. They wanted to wipe out Christianity. And a lot of people will look at the errors, or the horrors, I should say, of religion, and there have been many horrors of religion. But a lot of times when the atheists bring those horrors up, they ignore the horrors of atheism. There were far more people killed in the last century by millions by atheistic regimes than have ever been killed in the name of religion anywhere. I mean, Stalin killed at least 20 million of his own people. Mao, probably 60 million of his own people. You put the dictators of the 20th century together and you get more than 100 million people dead by atheistic regimes. Now, this doesn't prove or disprove atheism or Christianity. I'm just saying the idea that evil comes from religion is nonsense. According to the history of, I think it's the Encyclopedia of War, what percentage of wars do you think involve religion? According to them, 7%. If you take Islam out of it, it's 3%. In fact, let's just think about the last century. World War I caused by religion? No. World War II caused by religion? No. Korean War caused by religion? No. Vietnam War caused by religion? No. Iraq War caused by religion? No. Saddam wanted Kuwait's oil. You just think about in our recent history.
The fool has said, it is hard, there is no God. They are corrupt.
Yo, this is respectful. True empiricism. And every theist on YouTube that's ever been teased, mocked, and ridiculed by the atheist community. It's our time now. Ding dong, atheism dead. Rub your eyes, get out of bed. Ding dong, atheism dead. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I follow Jesus with my every breath. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I follow Jesus with my every breath. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I follow Jesus with my every breath. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I follow Jesus with my every breath. He's in the gym, Yona looks sick. Trevor got owned because he's a prick. Seasons that higher are in need to retire. Demons on fire, think shade is a liar. Redline the boy who never finished school. Whenever you debate, you sound like a fool. Signature master 40 times 33. You're blind at the back and you can't see me. TA's a large, you're round like a ball. You watch your ascension, I'm prepared for the fall. This is the disc, it's atheist mess. You're dead on G plus and you're born like a wreck. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I follow Jesus with my every breath. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll follow Jesus, there ain't nothing left. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll follow Jesus, there ain't nothing left. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll follow Jesus with my every breath. Cheating not right, cold, toddy, and fear. Carson is evil, Wolf King is weird. I love Galaxy, I hate a box thing. You own a 93, you're far from godly. Bionic as a coward that slip is a dope. Epicurus, stop worshiping the hope. Get on your feet and acknowledge Christ. Leave the Catholic Church and you'll be alright. The entire community is coming to an end. If you grow up, stop playing pretend. I got the cure for Theism, you can have it today. Read your Bible and do what it says. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, there ain't nothing left. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, there ain't nothing left. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, there ain't nothing left. Yo, yeah. I'm out again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries. And today, I wanted to... Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1 says that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 says that before the day of the Lord, before the man of sin is revealed, that there will be a falling away that will take place in the last days. And I personally believe that I'm not alone in this. I know a lot of other Christians believe this too, that the reason why people are falling away is due to a lack of study and the lies that come out of society and the lies that come from non-believers. And when you get somebody believing that stuff, it prevents you from, believing on the Lord Jesus Christ. And our job is to pour some light on that darkness so that people can see the light of Christ and be able to make the most important decision in their life, and that is to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, to turn away from their sins and have eternal life and not live for the temporal things of this world. Now, I want to let people know a couple of things before we get started, because I got a guest coming on this channel here today. Today, the topic is going to be, and this is the topic, We're not going to be talking about Shanny. We're not going to talk about Red. We ain't going to be talking about nobody's kids or none of that other stuff and whatnot today. Very strict show today. We will be discussing atheism is destroying our society. Hate God, love the devil. Of course, if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum and you want to argue against what's being said, I'll give you the opportunity to do that, but I'm going to be kind of selective who I let in here. The following people will not be allowed in the room today. Not Gray Alien will not be allowed in here. I will not be allowing any Von Helton haters in here because Von Helton is coming on this channel today. Hopefully we'll get Veckel for a few minutes and a couple of other people. I did not share the link yet. We're going to be doing that, but I just want to go over some rules here before we get started, because if I do this in the beginning and then people will get bounced because they broke a rule, they can't tell me that they were ignorant about it, right? This is a Christian channel. That's number one, okay? You're not on a channel where you're just allowed to just do whatever you want. When I make rules, I want those rules followed, all right? We're going to be having a debate/discussion on this channel regarding atheism in our society and the things that are going on here. I got a pretty funny video I want you guys to take a look at. I was laughing. I couldn't even watch the whole thing because I was just too busy laughing at this. When you see what I'm talking, for the Christians that are watching this, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about when you see this video. There's a lot of things you can't say, but when you see me laughing, when you see it happens, I think a lot of you will understand what's going on here. So it's going to be really funny considering the topic today, ladies and gents. I want to let people know, if you come into the room, there is no crying in here. You're taking my worldview. No. Listen to me. If you feel so strongly about how you see the world and what your beliefs are, come in, boldly say what you got to say. And if you don't want to hear the disagreements, you can mute your microphone. You can go like this, like everybody else does, and don't even listen. You can just do that if you want. All right. But for the most part, you're going to be hearing from Vaughn, myself, Veckel, and I assure you, if I don't agree with anything that I'm hearing, I'm going to say something. That's the whole point of having a debate arena where you can actually come in this room and agree and disagree. So all this, leave that stuff at home. Come in here strong. If you need to pray before you come in here, pray. If you need to consult your secular friends, do that before you come in here. You know what I mean? If you need help, get them on standby, because you're probably going to need their help if you come in here. I make these rooms for the veterans, not for the people that's never engaged in these or whatever. So as I like to try to do in the beginning of these videos, I don't think I did it in the last video, but I'm going to do it in this video. I know I shouted out Cherry Love, and I think the first one I did, I shouted out Crystal Love for Jesus. And by the way, Crystal Love for Jesus has a phenomenal channel. She has a channel where they talk about rapture dreams and visions and everything. Awesome YouTube channel. Then you got Cherry Love and her apologetics that she does. Now, I am not seeing any new content on her channel lately, but she's on Clubhouse. If you want to go and support her and you have a Clubhouse account, you can find her on there. And she does a pretty good job with dealing with the Hebrew Israelites and some other topics as well. So I guess the next channel that I want to shout out, let me think here a minute, because to be perfectly honest, a lot of the people that I was associated with here on YouTube ain't here no more. Veckel has a YouTube channel. His channel is VEKL. Veckel's a Calvinist. He has a channel where he has this cartoon that he does called 12. And it is a phenomenal cartoon. If you want to go support his YouTube channel, type in VEKL. It's called Veckel. You can go to his YouTube channel and you can check out his cartoon. We're all eagerly awaiting. I don't think I've seen this much anticipation for an animation to come out on YouTube. There are a lot of us waiting for this last show to come out. He's been working on it for 2.5 years, I think, even 3 years, I think. Been working on it for a while. And a lot of us are just waiting to be able to see this final installment of the 12 series. And this is when Christ returns and wipes the floor clean of this earth. Can't wait. You can get at least a movie for him until he actually does it for real. You know what I mean? So, again, if you're sensitive about these kind of topics that we're going to talk about today, like secularism, atheism, and all this other stuff, this is not the show that you want to come in today, because we're going to be speaking against it today. But of course, if you are of that ilk and you got something that you want to say, you can come in. I know some people might be talking about my long intros. Let me tell you something. I had about 2 or 3 other videos I wanted to play here before I was going to get started, but I needed time to do a couple of things. I was over here eating. I know that annoys some of you who watches the channel when I'm eating on camera, so I tried to do that before I got started. And I got a certain amount of time that I want to do today. I want to do this till about 10, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's about 2 hours and about 20 minutes. We'll be live today. When I do the 24-hour stream, you're all going to know because I'll appoint certain moderators on the channel, and they will be the ones in charge during that particular time. And you're going to have to respect them the way you respect me. And if you don't respect me, they'll throw you out the room because I'll make it so that they can do it. And with that being said, let's get into the atheism. The atheist, the individual, my feelings are different about them. But as far as the ism, the spreading of it in a militant or evangelical fashion, I am not a fan of it. As a Christian, I believe these people want us dead. They want us gone. They want us eradicated. They want to powderize us. And no matter how many times they try to get on here and say that that's not their goals and whatnot, that's what they were saying in Nazi Germany before they started killing the Jews. I'm not stupid. I am very educated when it comes to dealing with the with atheists online. And we need to bring these things out because we were talking about the one world religion, and we're going to talk. We've been talking about how the government will eventually become one, and I'm talking about all of the governments, not just the U.S. All of the governments will appear to be secular, but they will be like a religious secular. For those who don't know what it means to be secular, that means to be without God, government without God, or school without God, society without God. And when we're talking about this one world religion, they have to succeed in their goal. Now, I personally believe that these individual atheists are puppets on strings being controlled by the people that we talked about in the previous videos. They won't know until it's too late, a lot of them. Some of them are finding out now, and that's why they're becoming Christians again or joining some other religion, because they realize that it's being used and what they talk about on here is meaningless and pointless. So that being said, let's keep that in mind when we're talking about the things we're going to talk about. But before I start watching my videos and everything, let's get Von Helton in here and some of the other people here. And the good thing about being low key, because if I would have did this on my other channel and brought Vaughn in there, I would have like a couple hundred people watching. Because it's on this channel, I don't think I'm going to get that kind of attention, and that's good. Because then we can just talk about normal stuff. We ain't got to worry about the trolls coming into play. So let me do some inviting here real quick. Von Helton, Veckel, and all you other guys, if you're watching this, you will be receiving a link soon to join. So just want to put this out here. So if you got to go out and go get your popcorn or whatever, this would be a good time to go do that. All right. Normally, I put the link out there 15 minutes before the show starts. I decided to do something a little bit different because I want to get Vaughn in here first. So Von Helton, I got you on Skype here. We talked already. Sending you the link. All right. And again, this would be a very low key because a lot of them won't be watching today. Okay. I expect a low turnout, maybe like 20, 25 people, and that's it. If we get that. I got to get my butt back in the algorithm. So let me now send the link to Veckel. Whoa. That's a fake Veckel. Hold up. Got to be careful with that one. A lot of people pretending to be people. Let's get true empiricism here. Standing for truth. You might not like this kind of show, but I'll invite him anyway. He said he'll come here. Brett King loves this kind of show. Got TV, radio. If you want to hear somebody speak out against atheism, check out Brett King's channel. I do not agree with everything that Brett King says. You won't either if you actually watch it. But check it out when you get the chance. All right. All right. So until they get in here, do I got another video here? I got another video I wanted to put on here we can watch. So let's ask a fundamental question. No. As a matter of fact, let's not even ask a fundamental question until Vaughn get in here. Matt Dillahunty said something in the beginning of the video, right? Oh, there goes Vaughn. Vaughn, I'll bring you in a minute, okay? All right. So let me play this again about what Matt Dillahunty said in the beginning of the video.
Did your God create hell? Yes or no?
She said yes.
Yes.
Okay. Does your God create the rules of the universe, including the criteria by which souls are judged?
Yes.
Does anything happen that doesn't go according to your God's will?
No.
That's when I'm going to stop it. Okay. I disagree with that lady. She said, does anything happen that isn't involved with God's will? When we're talking about God's will, we're talking about the things that God wants to happen. And we know that God is against sin. There's a lot of things that goes on in this world that God appalls, that he thinks is an abomination, and he will have nothing to do with. So when she said yes to that question, she walked into a trap. It is important when you're listening to atheists that you listen carefully to what they're asking you, consider it, and then answer. Don't feel pressured to answer it right away. Because a lot of times they'll say things that is totally unbiblical. Your God is all loving. Wait a minute. Where in the Bible does it say all loving? It says that he's love. But where does it say he's all loving? You've got to pay attention to those kind of things when you listen to them. But without further ado, my guest is here. Got the one and only Vaughn Helton. How you doing, Vaughn?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. And before you get started, let me let my audience know, in case you don't remember Vaughn. Vaughn is eclectic pagan. All right. But Vaughn has opinions about the secular world, what we will call the leftists, like I do. Becca will be in here a little bit later. Hopefully we can get Jesus as Lord in here and we can actually talk about this. I am not letting nobody in the room who is going to attack Vaughn Helton. Say what you want in the chat, but you are not going to say anything in the room. Vaughn, I made that promise and I'm going to keep it. Okay. And we're good there, right? So I'm not setting you up like Shanny did years ago. I'm not doing none of that stuff. This is just for us to talk. All right.
All right. Very good.
All right. And then we're going to bring other people in here. Hopefully Veckel, because I know you and Veckel get along.
Me and Beck will get along. Yeah.
Jesus is Lord and a couple of other people.
Yeah.
Maybe Indigo will show up. Who knows?
What's that?
Maybe Indigo will show up.
Indigo. Is she even still around? I don't think she's around anymore.
I doubt it. I doubt it. When I looked at her on Facebook, she was working and everything.
I think they just kind of, disappear after a while. After a while.
So for me and you.
Well, there is something new. I don't know if you're aware, but I have a new religion called Freedom Religion, and no, I did not pick that name. I'm been involved in that, and it has no dogma or drama. It's it's very freedom based, obviously. It's also very based on free will as opposed to predestination, although both exist. But and so I've been kind of promoting it a little bit now. As a pagan, we don't normally proselytize or promote things, but if people ask me about it, I'm more than happy to tell them about it. And I've ever since that I've started this, I've noticed a big change in some of the things that are going on in my life, and hopefully some bigger changes, even including, I believe the pendulum is swinging back our way, meaning us theists is swinging back our way, and that's a good thing. And the direction of America hopefully will swing back the other way, because it's going over a cliff at a rapid clip, I think, but we'll see. Yeah, I've been involved in a lot of things, and I'm doing mods for computer games, and I may get back into.
Don't get mad later on when I preach the gospel to you, though. Don't get mad. Don't get mad
when
I preach the gospel,
bro. I done did the Christian thing. I ain't going back.
Don't get mad when I preach the gospel to you later. All right, it's all in love. All right,
say what you want. It has no effect on me. It has no effect on me. I've been there, done that. Got the T-shirt, as they used to say.
Yeah, a lot of your haters are busy supporting other channels, and they're too busy trying to make sure this channel doesn't succeed. So they don't know what's going on right now. So, and I like to keep it that way. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah. The less they know, the better. The less they know, the better, and hopefully there'll be some, where's my little suit? Well, be patient. Be patient, grasshopper. Be patient. Okay. Good.
Don't even bring that up. Don't worry about it, because I know me and you both have been victims of atheism here in America. You know what I mean? With them, wanting to press their beliefs on everybody and do it in a very illegal way a lot of times. Let's talk about social media here for a minute. Let's start off with that. That'd be a good one.
Oh, I
And then
can
we'll get to the other
tell
ways.
you an earful on that. Yeah.
Let's start out
That-
with the first atheist on here. Brett Keane was like one of the first atheists on here, right?
He's one of the first atheists. Yeah, and then he converted. Yeah.
Yeah, he converted to
But
theism, right?
well, here's something that you one of the things that really caught my eye, and I thought this was rather interesting. Years ago, about.com had a bulletin board. Okay, and you could go to the bulletin board, post you a message, and somebody would reply, and then you go back and reply to that message, and it back and forth. And I noticed on this bulletin board on about.com, these interesting questions. Is Jesus really the Son of God? Is the Christian God really who he says he? Questions like that. And I said that sounds like a trap. And I was 100% right, because it was atheists that were posting these questions. And then when a Christian would respond, they get ganged up on by 5, 6, 7 atheists in the thread, right? And I'm like, you sick, and I'm a pagan, and I got offended by that, because I'm like, that's not right, okay? And I guess that's one of the reasons why about.com got rid of it, because atheists just flat out took the bulletin board over, and we're
atheists are using
bashing.
social media. Atheists are using social media to spread secularism like crazy on here.
Well, they're trying. They're trying. I think, like I said, I think the pendulum's going to swing back our way, because atheism doesn't have any moral fortitude. I mean, it really doesn't. It has no moral fortitude. And that's
even worse than that. They don't really got a voice on here no more, if you think about it. Matt Dillahunty isn't on the Atheist Experience no more. I think he has his own little thing he does. And he's losing debates. He lost to what was his name? I forget. It was a Christian on Modern Day Debate. He lost twice actually on Modern Day Debate.
Wow.
And I think Matt Dillahunty lost his last 4 or 5 debates. As a matter of fact, he got out of his chair and he's pretty angry during one of them, because people are getting hip and they're getting used to him. And things like, you can only hang up on a person and say you're done and say you're not convinced so long before somebody figure you out and, and see the kind of charlatan you are after a while. Well,
the thing of it is, atheism has been allowed to do its thing here in the United States. And what have we seen as a result of that? I'll tell you what I've seen, because I watch the news. I watch. I keep my ear to the ground, and what I've noticed, that since we've allowed atheism to have a fair shake and to be able to do whatever it wants, I've noticed one major key thing that's happened that really, really bugs me, and that is young girls, young women who are pregnant. They will leave babies in Dipsy dumpsters. They'll leave them in bathrooms. They try to flush them down the commode. They'll put them on people's doorstep and ring the bell and run away. That didn't happen until atheism was given a seat at the table. That didn't happen. Okay, that is a thing that is solely at the feet of the atheist community, and they have no answer for it, because, hey, what are they telling these young girls? Oh, humans are just animals. We don't have any divine spark of any kind, and it's just a and especially Planned Parenthood. Oh my God, it's a blob of tissue, a blob of flesh. It's just it's a zygote. It's an embryo. Whenever you want to destroy,
they dehumanize us.
Exactly. When you want to destroy something, particularly a human being, what do you have to do? You have to dehumanize it first. Oh, those people over there are mindless savages, and so therefore we're justified in killing them. Well, wait a minute. Who says they're savages? How did you come to that conclusion? You reached that conclusion because you wanted to kill them. And so in order to kill somebody, see, we have deep within every human being is what I call a divine spark. That divine spark will not allow you to kill another human without a justification. So what you got to do is you got to say, okay, all right, those people are savages over there, and therefore I could kill them. It's just like with babies. Okay, you want to kill an infant, but before it's born, what do? Oh, it's a zygote, it's an embryo, it's a blob of tissue, it's a piece of flesh. It's I'll
take it a step further. If you want to enslave a society, just say that one race is superior to another.
Well, exactly right. Well, I was going to bring that up too. Because it's I call it word salad. Okay, they'll use words and then they'll use the words in a way that they weaponize them. They weaponize the words and use it as a way to to go after whatever flavor of the month they want to go after.
Mhm.
Take me for example. Oh well, Vaughn's evil. Vaughn is wicked. Well, now wait a minute. I used to rescue people out of burning buildings. I used to
Wow.
rescue children out of cults and everything. I stopped a pimp organization in Killeen, Texas. Even the trolls know that one. But I'm the evil one? Wait a minute. Where are you getting that from? They got to come up with something to dehumanize me so that they can be justified in their attack on me. You get it?
Yeah, they got to use evolution to do that too. They
And
use
that's
evolution
what I'm getting at.
tools.
They're using the
Yeah.
evolution, they're using atheism in order to say, okay, well, we're no longer human beings. We're now affiliated with apes. We're now affiliated with animals, mindless beasts.
Mhm.
And so therefore, human value goes to what? It goes to zero. It goes to nothing.
right.
It goes poof. All right.
It's
Well, what
easier for them
happens
to
when
take a life that way.
okay, well, what happens when when humans no longer have value? Oh, well, I'll leave my baby in a Dipsy dumpster. I'll leave my baby in the bathroom, or I'll flush it down a commode, or I'll leave it on somebody's doorstep, or I'll leave it out in the winter to freeze to death. Why? Because atheism has been allowed to flourish here in the United States. And as a result, all these young women especially, but other people as well, they've decided, oh, well, humanity has no value. And therefore, we could do whatever we want, whenever we want. We could go kill that person and not have any remorse whatsoever. Everybody comes to me all the time. They say, how can these people be so evil and sleep at night? I say they sleep just fine because they've been told, or they've learned on their own, or they've promoted the idea that humanity has no value, that there's no divine spark in a person. And when you get to that point, that's when anything goes, man. Hey, just go kill that person. It's
Let me
just
ask you a
another-
question then. Why do you suppose they want like everybody on here knows my opinion? Let me get yours for a minute until they decide they want to come in here or whatever. Why do you suppose that they work so hard to get control of the government?
Well, it's always about control. Everything's about control. But why do they want the government?
Why do they
want
want to
the-
secularize
what-
the government, you think?
Why do they want to secularize the government? They want to secularize the government because most likely the people that are controlling them from behind the scenes, whether they realize it or not, is all about depopulation. I've got a video where Bill Gates is at a live TED Talk in front of a live audience. And he says, with new vaccines, we can decrease the population of Earth by 10 to 15%. He said that in a TED Talk. Okay, in front of a live audience, and them stupid
Mhm.
lemmings are like a bunch of seals.
Seals, like,
Yeah, literally. I mean, go watch the video, and I'm like, you idiots! Didn't you hear what the man just said? He just said he wants to kill you. But see, again, word salad. They've gotten to the point where it just goes through one ear and right out the other, and they don't.
Well, that's what they did in
doesn't
communist
register.
Russia, though. In communist Russia, they got control of the government. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then when they got control of the government, they changed all of the laws. They confiscated private property.
Mhm.
They made it illegal and extremely inconvenient for you to be a theist of any sort
Mhm.
in communist Russia. And one of the questions I've been asking the atheists for a while now is, why is it that after World War II, when the Soviet Union, did everything that it did, that since you're so atheistic, that the Catholic Church is the state church over there? None of them like to answer that question. We know why the Catholic Church is is in charge over there, because they're trying to bring
I know why the
together.
Catholic Church is in charge over there now, especially because Putin is a Catholic. And he was an atheist. Putin has made a lot of changes, and a lot of people aren't aware. First of all, Putin took it from an atheist secular society and converted it back to a federal republic again, a constitutional republic. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that he reinstituted religion back in Russia, and he renounced atheism and became a Catholic. And so, Putin has done a lot of reforms. They over there they call it glasnost and perestroika. And a lot of people aren't aware of the things that have been going on over there. I hear a lot of people saying Russia bad, Russia bad, Russia bad. Well, from what I've seen, Putin's been doing really good about changing Russia back into a republic again, which is what it
But
used to be.
prior to Putin, and
It
prior
wasn't
to
so good.
and prior to
Yeah, it
Mikhail
wasn't so
Gorbachev,
good. Yeah.
when
Yeah,
they
it wasn't
had
so good.
Stalin,
Yeah,
when
Stalin
Stalin was in
especially. Yeah.
charge, yeah, man, a lot of people had to die under his regime.
Oh yeah.
A lot of
Well,
people died
what
under
was
his
it?
regime.
35,000 people or something. A lot of
I got a
deaths,
funny
man.
video I want to show you.
You do.
I want you to watch it with me. It's pretty funny.
All right.
When you hear me laughing, you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But there's a video that exists on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, don't do this to me. No. Hold on a minute. I gotta find it, Vaughn. Oh, I think I deleted it by accident. It's this lady on the Atheist Experience.
A lady on Atheist Experience. Oh gosh.
Oh, I lost it. No, don't do this to me. Which video? Okay, which one did I have? Let me see. Oh man, yo, it's this lady on the Atheist Experience with these two new guys who absolutely stink at this. I mean, like they stink at this.
Yeah.
And this lady had this deep voice. And I even left a comment there, and I was like, remember on YouTube, you can't say certain things. So I was like, wow, that lady got a real deep voice. I wonder if she's taking testosterone or is she, she's lifting some weights or something. But she looks like a girl and everything. So I don't want to be disrespectful or nothing like that.
Right.
So I was just like, wow, her voice is deeper than mine. I want to show you the video. I got to find it a little bit later after we get some other people in here. I think the atheists are running today. I think the atheists are running today because they know that the things I'm going to be saying in this video is true.
Well,
let's get back
the
to
thing of it
social
is,
media.
well,
Who do you
the
think is in
reason
charge of cancel culture?
I think the reason the atheists are running is because they know I'm an amateur historian and I'll totally own them. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Let's be clear. Let's be abundantly clear. Let's just put this out there. Okay. If you're an atheist, particularly today, if you're an atheist, you are a puppet of Rothschild. That's not my opinion. That's an absolute fact. Okay. Good old Karl Marx goes to Karl Marx goes to his cousin, Lord Rothschild, and says, "Hey, cuz, write me a big fat check so I can spread atheism, communism all over the world." And that's exactly what Rothschild did. Say, "Here you go, cuz." Give him a big old check, spreads atheism and communism all over the world. That's Karl Marx. Karl Marx was the cousin of Lord Rothschild. Google it, you non-Googling son of a guns.
Tammy Thompson says, my question is, where do atheists get their morals? How do they determine what is right and wrong? By their worldview, everything is based on opinion, not total right and wrong.
Based on
what would you say about that? Because what I would say is that he's correct. That when atheist goes about calling somebody wrong or evil or a bad person, it's just their opinion. They ain't got nothing to base it on.
That's what I'm saying. We've allowed it. We gave atheism a chance. Okay, nobody can say we didn't give atheism a chance because we did. And now look at where we're at. Look at where we're at. Humanity has no value. Morals are gone. No respect for other people. You don't. I mean, you used to years ago, man. You'd be driving down the road, you get a friendly wave from somebody that you didn't even know, and you wave back, because it was, everybody was friendly, everybody was nice. What caused all this negativity? What caused it all? Atheism. We gave atheism a chance, and now we got all this negativity. And like I said, I believe it's because of their handlers, whether they believe they're being handled or not. They're being handled. And the puppet masters are they're in league with evil, no doubt about it. And
Albert Gomez says that's true. Opinion is fine for morals, and he says good and bad is subjective. See, here's the problem with that, Vaughn. And if the rest of the gang was in here, they would hear them say the same thing too. Yeah. But when you say that good and bad is only opinionated and it's only based on subjectivity, which is based on your own personal opinion, then Adolf Hitler's a good person according to himself, and you can't argue against that.
Right?
He would be a good person. You would say he's a bad person.
Well, from a historical
perspective, and what's it based on? In my opinion.
Well, from a historical perspective, okay, purely historical, not bringing my personal beliefs in it or yours. From a purely historical perspective, if Hitler had not invaded Poland, we'd probably be singing the guy's praises. I mean, he took a country that was trillions of dollars in debt, turned it around literally almost overnight, got it out of debt, got the, you know, the classic line, trains running on time again, got everything fixed the economy, fixed society, fixed everything back. And the truth of the matter is, like I said, if he hadn't invaded Poland and started World War II, we'd be singing the guy's praises, because he really did take a nasty situation. Folks, you should read the Treaty of Versailles if you ever get a chance. It's horrible. It is really horrible. And what they done to Germany was, I don't believe was fair. I don't believe it was. And obviously unfair treatment of Germany is what led to Hitler rising to power in the first place. If the Treaty of Versailles had not been as brutal towards Germany as it was, Hitler probably would not have been able to rise to prominence. That's the truth.
Somebody in the chat said that some people liked Hitler and they voted for him. Yeah, the people that shared Hitler's ideology, and the people that were brainwashed by his speeches.
Right. Well, some of them, yeah.
Those are the people that
some
supported
of them
Hitler.
actually
And
believed.
obviously, they didn't like the Jews.
Well, some of them believed it. Some of them didn't. It depended. Yeah, you know, he had a ministry of propaganda called Joseph Goebbels, who was very, very good at his job, and that's the truth. You know, and we can speculate about what Hitler knew, what Hitler did not know in regards to the final solution. You know, we can argue that all day long, because, you know, he may not have known very much, because really Himmler and Goebbels and Hermann Goering, those guys were pretty much running shit. They really were.
A lot of people don't know Hitler was an atheist. A lot of people got this idea in their head that Hitler was a Christian because of some things that they take out of context. But if you look at everything that Adolf Hitler did, if he does believe in a God, which one did he believe in?
Hitler said,
Jesus, that's for sure.
Hitler said, "I was a good Catholic." Key word there, was. That's what, you know, like you said earlier, G-Man, words are important. He said, I was a good Catholic. Okay, well, now what does that presuppose? That presupposes he left Catholicism, right? Yeah. Okay, so if he left Catholicism, what did he become? Well, I don't know.
And who's the state church today in Germany?
Well, is there even a church in Germany?
It ain't no Protestant church, that's for sure.
No, well, I don't think even the Catholics are in Germany anymore. I don't think even the Catholics are in Germany anymore. You know what is in Germany? You know what is in Germany? Islam's in Germany. Islam's there. But I don't hear much about Catholics anymore in Germany, or Protestants for that matter. I just don't hear about it that much.
One second, Yvonne. So we got a James Corvus in the background. James, I don't know you, so I need you to cut your camera on, or assure me you're not going to attack Vaughn in the private chat, or you gotta let me know who you are before I bring you in here, because I did promise Vaughn I wasn't gonna let nobody come here and attack him. This is a safe place for him. All right, so you can come in here, James. I'll bring you in here. Just give me 1 second, because I still don't know you. I'm gonna bring you in here though. But there's a way I can protect my channel. I'll put that there temporarily, guys. We're gonna bring Mr. James in here. How you doing, James?
Hey, how's it going? How y'all doing? How you doing, Vaughn?
I'm all right.
Pretty good.
I'm all right.
What's up?
Yeah. I'm not here to attack Vaughn. I have no issues with Vaughn.
Okay, good.
I only came in here to ask, like, where did you get that information that Hitler? Now, I'm just gonna say it. Me personally, I do not believe in the Abrahamic God. I'm just gonna say that. Okay. So I don't believe in.
So you're an atheist then? Wait a minute. Wait. I'm sorry. I apologize. If you don't believe in the Abrahamic God, what God do you believe in?
I don't necessarily believe in the God. I take it that my parents created me. I just take it there. So I don't know. You can say I do ancestor veneration.
Or are you militant, or are you soft or strong about it?
No. I'm so about it. So if you want to say that, like, I'm an agnostic atheist, I guess that's fine, because I'm not actively like venerating my ancestors. But basically, I say that my ancestors created me. So that's what it is. I mean,
technically that's correct statement, but there's more to it than that. But
yeah, there can be more to it, but I just don't choose to, go that far.
Right.
Personally. So when you say that Hitler is an atheist, what proof do you have of that? Especially when there's books.
Well, like I said, he said of his own mouth. This is a direct quote. I was a good Catholic. He left Catholicism.
Right.
And,
That's true.
and I've not heard anybody say what he became after he left Catholicism. So one can assume, therefore, he became an atheist. But, we don't know because he's never said, or I've never seen
Well, I can
anything
get into
to tell me
about
what
why
he
I
said.
believe he was an atheist. I have no problem with that. We all know that Stalin was and Mao was, and these
Stal
other
was,
right.
Mao
Jesus
was,
Lord. If you want to prove, if you want to come in, the link is here. If you want to get in here, because you're going to love this conversation today. But my proof is that you can take a look at what Hitler was doing when he was in power. Hitler had no regards for any deities whatsoever. Not the Abrahamic God. He didn't have no respect for any pagan deity or anything like that.
no.
Hitler did whatever Hitler wanted to do.
Right.
That's
Now
what he did.
Well, here's the thing about it was, now this is not necessary. I don't know if Hitler necessarily ordered this, but I know that Himmler and some of the other underlings directly under Hitler, they had this fascination for the occult, and they went all over the world looking for occultic artifacts. The chalice. What was it? Help me out here, man. That chalice that you drink from.
Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. Thank you. Holy Grail. The thing that pierced Jesus in the side. The spear of destiny. The golden fleece. What else? There was a magical
Atlantis.
lyre. There was a magical lyre that I forget the name of it. And just all these mythical artifacts, spiritual artifacts, and they would send the Nazis out all over the world to dig and try to hunt these down. And so while Hitler may have not necessarily ascribed to anything, his underlings, his second in commands, and the people, they had this little group called the Black Sun, all right, and they were interested in the occult. And they would literally go all over the world looking for ancient artifacts. And to what end? I don't know. I do know that the Spear of Destiny, whoever allegedly possesses the Spear of Destiny, cannot lose a war. And isn't it interesting that up until 1941, when America entered the war, Germany didn't lose a single battle, not one. But then after 1941, when America started entering the war, all of a sudden Germany started losing. Could it have been that they had the Spear of Destiny and somebody got it and stole it away from them? Maybe. That's a possibility. You never know.
I just think Adolf Hitler was just evil, and Adolf Hitler wanted to be the dictator of the whole world and whatnot, and he wanted to paint the whole world in his image. He was just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
No. Hitler went out of his way to say that he believed that Britain and America were his brothers, and he stated so publicly. He said, "I believe."
He also said he wouldn't invade Poland.
Well, yeah, that's true, he did. But I mean, like I said, if he hadn't invaded Poland, we'd probably be singing the guy's praises. There'd probably be statues to the guy and everything else.
Anyway,
but I mean,
somebody in the chat asked why, if everything is subjective, then why is it wrong to kill? And I don't know if you remember him from the past, Vaughn. His name was Floyd. He came here and he said this: "It is wrong. It is wrong to kill other innocent people because doing so would create a lot of suffering in society. The society would not survive. No God is needed." Floyd, what's wrong with suffering in the atheist worldview? What's wrong with suffering in the atheist worldview?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the atheist believes, in my opinion, that atheism can do no wrong.
Thank you, Vaughn, for arguing for them, because other than this gentleman here, they don't got nobody here to represent them because they're so used to teasing, they're not used to actually debating anymore. But go ahead.
Well, like I said, I think they don't believe they can do any wrong. They truly believe they're 100% right about everything, and like I said, good old Rothschild got him by the strings, baby.
My whole thing is like suffering is unavoidable. So whatever you can do to mitigate it and for you to suffer less will be the goal. So
you would think.
Yeah, you would think. But, some people gain power from making people suffer. So
absolutely they do.
So that's what it is. I don't think a God will come down and solve that. I think we as humans have to solve that for ourselves. Because
we're the reason why suffering exists from the Judeo-Christian worldview.
Right,
I'm not speaking for Vaughn because me and Vaughn got different worldviews. Vaughn can talk about his worldview.
Me and
but from the Judeo-Christian worldview, we believe that God made everything perfect. It was mankind that decided that they wanted to sin and rebel against God. And we've been doing that ever since. And that's why these things are going on.
Well,
Now
see,
God did come down to earth. He did eat with us. He did
Yes.
dwell amongst us. And then he redeemed us from these sins that we that we commit. And if we believe on him, we can be made right with him, right? But the atheist doesn't believe that. So they want to just say, you know, there ain't no God, there ain't no Jesus. You know what I mean? We're all we got, and we got to solve all of our problems. And I'm sorry, look throughout history. Every time we get an atheistic government, a lot of us end up dead.
Yeah.
Well, this is also true with like, so would you say that North Korea is an atheistic government?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're communist.
None. All right. So
the number one, sir, the number one point of communism is that there is no God. I mean, that's the number one point of communism. Absolutely.
Okay.
Communism has 10 planks. Okay. And that right at the very top, there is no God. Number one plank, there is no God. Right?
Okay.
That's how they believe. That's what they espouse. That's what they promote. Going, like I said, going all the way back to Karl Marx. Karl Marx goes to his cousin, Lord Rothschild, says, "Hey man, cut me a check. Let me spread atheism, communism all over the world." He said, "Here you go."
You talk about that a little bit though, because I've heard you say that a couple of times about this check that was given to them.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, Karl Marx. See, Karl Marx is cousins with Lord Rothschild. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. It's true. And so he wanted to promote this idea that him and Frederick Joseph Engels came up with called communism, but he needed funding, and he didn't have any funding. So he goes to his cousin, Lord Rothschild, who had mega billions, probably back in, says, "Hey, cuz, let me have some money."
If you ever get like some article on the topic or something like that, whether it's on this channel or your channel, I want to see it,
dude. Years ago, when people doubted me, I would give them articles. I would point them to books. I would point.
No, I believe it because that channel, Vaughn, which we're going to look at in a minute, Christmas is a Lie, talks about a lot of this. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really need it from you, but I want to see what you looked at. That was different.
Oh Lord, that was so many years ago, bro. I mean, I couldn't begin to tell you.
Well, wait, can I say
you're actually right about that, though. You're right about it.
Oh yeah. Well,
so when it does come to North Korea, we in America say that it is a communist country, and yes, that's what they say. But effectively, the people who live there view the Kims as gods. So effectively, in that country, you are taught that the Kims are God. You taught that they control the weather. You're taught that they make the grass grow. They're taught. There's people who came out of North Korea and have said this. They see the Kims as gods. So effectively, that country living in it is not an atheist state, and we know what they do to people. So this is the issue. Right. So we have our narrative that like, oh, these people are communists, but people who believe in God can do the same type of atrocities.
You see, you're not going to be an atheist.
Has a lot more people. There's a lot more deaths.
See, you're not going to be an atheist long because your eyes are open. You at least see what's going on. In a lot of these communist countries, God exists, but it's the government. They just don't believe in the
government, right? God, the government has become God.
It's always the government.
Yeah, the government has become God, literally.
Yeah, they just like in the United States, they don't want us worshiping anything that we can't see. What they want us to worship, what they want us to bow down to, what they want us to revere is the government. That's what they want us to do. That's why they brag about the government being secular all the time.
Japan wasn't a communist state, but they pretty much had the same thing. They thought the emperor was almost like a deity, and they would literally do whatever the emperor said, down to the last man, woman, and child.
Right.
And that's why we had to do what we had to do to Japan in World War II, because they were literally going to sacrifice every man, woman, and child for the emperor. And we didn't want that. We did not want to be guilty of genocide. And that's why we agreed to drop the bombs, because we wanted to end the war quickly. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand, why we dropped the bomb. We didn't drop the bomb because we were vindictive and wanted to slaughter millions of innocent Japanese. That's not why we dropped the bomb. We dropped the bomb because they believed their emperor was a god, and their emperor was telling them, yeah, you died the last man, woman, and child. And they were going to do it. And America's like, oh my God, we can't condone genocide. So they agreed to drop the bomb. And when they dropped the bomb, that's when the war ended. And, as a result, You know, I know how crazy it sounds, but as a result, actually thousands of Japanese lives were saved because we did drop the bomb. Because they were literally going to do it. They were literally going to die to the last man, woman, and child. And then America would have been guilty of genocide, and it would have been all over the place. And we would have looked like fools. And so
they dropped one bomb, they dropped the second bomb, they tapped out.
Tapped out finally. Yeah.
But
it had to be done. It was, did we take any glory in it? Of course not. But it
Wait a minute. Look who's in the background. Hey Vaughn, here's a name you haven't heard in a while. True Empiricism. I don't know if him in a while. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my protector up here. I'm going to put my sword of justice up here real quick. No pun intended. But just to make sure that this is true, because you know how some people are.
Oh, yeah.
True, is that you? You got to unmute.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo, True Empiricism is here.
Hey, True, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
I ain't talked to you in a while. What you been up to?
I've been making a lot of life changes.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling. A lot of changes on the local front, man. But hopefully, like I said earlier, the pendulum's swinging back my way finally.
That's right.
Slow as all get out. Swinging back. Slow. Oh my gosh.
So what's going on, guys? What's the topic?
The topic is how atheism is destroying our society.
Yes.
How they promote hating God and loving the devil. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. And right now, we this gentleman over here, James Corvus, did something I did not expect. First, he came in the room and said that he didn't believe in any God. So obviously, that makes him atheist, right? So he then he pointed out an observation about something that we see in Korea, right? And that's that the people in Korea claim that they're communists, but they worship the government. They worship this dictator. And I'm surprised he admitted this on here, because by him doing that, he's acknowledging that in a communist country, it ain't really about them obliterating all forms of deities or whatever. They just want to get rid of the ones they can't see. You know what I mean? And they want you bowing down and worshiping the government, like we saw in communist Russia and some of these other dictators. Like for example, China. China's got the same problem too. You know?
Well, if you want to know how dangerous atheism is, just look at what's going on in America right now.
Yeah,
it's that same age group that we dealt with growing up. That millennial atheism. That's a big reason as to why we're seeing a lot of that push for socialism and Marxism today. It's the same age group, actually.
Well, somebody asked me about that the other day. In fact, they said, Vaughn, how in the world did this happen? You've been talking about this since 1970. I said, thank you for dating me. I've been talking about this since 1970. I said, Vaughn, what in the world's going on? Okay, here's the deal. All right, and you can go to a physical library and look this up on your own time. But in 1933, communists came over here posing as professors and got tenure in our colleges and universities. That's a fact. Like I said, you can go to a library and look it up. It's there. All right. Well, guess what? They never left. And they've been promoting communism ever since. And so now when you turn on your TV, what do you see? You see a bunch of young people sitting there wanting to put Bernie Sanders in the White House, somehow thinking that a communist is going to be better than what we've got already in there, which I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know. What we got in there ain't too good, but yeah, they're fully supporting communism, because they've been taught by these college professors that communism, is just another idea like capitalism, and it doesn't have anything to do with demoralizing society or humanity or anything like that. It's just another form, and we ought to embrace it. We ought to allow it at the table, when in fact communism is actually against the Constitution of the United States. And anyone involved in communism is actually committing treason against the Constitution of the United States. And, ask a law professor if they'll tell you truthfully.
I mean, I don't think communism is against the United States. It's just that communism came after the Declaration and the Constitution and all that. So, like, it can't be against it.
Really? You don't think communism is against the United States?
Well, it's against capitalism. So capitalism, they say, creates
I apologize, Corvus. Corvus, I'm sorry. 1 second. Veckel, is that you, Veckel?
Yep, it's me.
All right, let the brother finish talking. Veckel's here now, man. The gang's getting back.
Is that
together.
true empiricism?
Yes. What's up, Beckle?
Oh my gosh, he's still alive.
Yep.
True, man. I gotta, dude. You gotta. I don't want to interrupt the conversation, man. I want to hear what you guys have to say, but please do not leave until I get some contact info from you. All right, go ahead.
Oh yeah. When it comes to what do you call it? It's just that they say capitalism, especially back in the day, it exploits people, which is causing them to suffer, and only certain people at the top actually benefit from capitalism. So that's essentially what it's doing. At least that's the idea. That's the idea.
Okay, I know where you're getting that from. So let me address that, because that's not capitalism. What we have right now is not capitalism. What we have right now is called crony capitalism. It is a bureaucratic. Well, I could use some colorful words, but I'm going to be nice to G-Man and not. But anyway, it's not true capitalism, okay? True capitalism rises all boats, okay? What we have now in place is called crony capitalism. And the reason we have crony capitalism in place is because you have a bunch of uber-rich oligarchs that are in control of the United States, and they have put this crony capitalism in place. And it's going to take somebody with a lot of experience and a lot of know-how to remove this. But that's why, because I get that from people all the time. Oh, capitalism sucks. Capitalism sucks. We don't have capitalism right now. We have crony capitalism. Okay?
If I will say that communism too, it's 100% antithetical to the Constitution and the United States. So
in every way.
In every way, really, and I would say that really capitalism, that's really the best system that we have to pull people out of poverty. Communism puts more people in poverty.
It puts everybody in poverty.
Actually, I don't know how communism can really help anybody except for the state.
Except the upper echelon, it helps them, but it doesn't help anybody else.
Hey, Veckel, your good buddy is in the chat, man. Floyd out there, Veckel.
Yeah, I see that. Utilizing the same atheist rhetoric to argue for morality, it seems too.
And he seems to be a little timid now.
How can you argue for morality from an atheist point when atheism has no morality? How in the world does that work? How does that work? Atheism has no morality.
It works easy just by denying the fact that you're borrowing from another's worldview.
You have to be, because atheism by itself, in and of itself, does not have morality.
Yeah.
And if it does, where's the source? What great guru of atheism came down from the mountaintop and bestowed morality on us? What's his name? I'd love to know him. I'd like to shake his hand. Who is it?
I know his name. It's called Self.
Yeah.
So I do have a question.
Self.
Well, that's the thing. Self is their God. Science. Well, no, sciences are God. Self would be like the false prophet,
So I do got a question. So when it comes to like certain countries, like I guess the Netherlands, Sweden, like these places that have not necessarily they don't have religion, but they have lower rates of like church attendance and things like that. But they tend to be more peaceful countries, tend to be countries that have more, I guess, equity between the citizens, as opposed to like countries that are like heavily religious, like in Saudi Arabia or like in other places.
Can I answer that question?
Does it come down more to the culture, or does it come down to like the religious symbol? Because I think it comes down to
I'm gonna answer it by being a goofy person, and then I'm gonna let the other guys answer it because they're gonna kill me when they hear what I got to say. Are there any black people in those countries?
Yeah, there's black people in Norway, in Netherlands.
How many poor black people do they have in those countries?
G-Man on his way to sound like
there's black people in Sweden. But I don't know about poor.
G-Man on his way to sound like Jesse Lee Peterson now.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't believe that. I just beat some people to that argument. That's all.
Do you love white people? Yeah, I think, I don't really have an answer to that, except for the fact that from my research that these peaceful countries like in Sweden or whatever, the people over there will not call themselves atheists. At least the majority of them. They don't even want to identify as such. But you're right that they don't go to church either. Not regularly, or the majority of them don't. But the fact of the matter is, I would still say, at least as from a Christian standpoint, and the reason why they're so peaceful over there is because they're borrowing moral standards from a worldview that's outside of their agnostic or atheistic mindset or secular mindset. I would say that we can argue if it's Christianity or not. I would say it is, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, as Vaughn pointed out before, that there's nothing in atheism or agnosticism where that says that treat turn the other cheek or treat people as you would like to be treated. That there's nothing that suggests that at all.
And then you presuppose that there's no crime going on over there. I'm assuming that you're comparing Sweden and these other countries to the United States. But I assure you, they have their crime over there. They have their police there. They have the issues, and they got their.
I didn't say United States.
It's getting out because they're illegal immigrants, man. They're legal immigrants.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. Good old Frau Merkel thought it would be cute to allow Islam to invade Europe. Something that Islam hasn't been able to do for thousands of years. Somebody should have gave Frau Merkel a history book before she did that and said, hey, wait a minute, don't be so keen on doing this. This is a bad thing. Thousands of years, folks, Islam tried to invade Europe and failed all the ways because there was always somebody that would rise up and defend Europe against them. And Frau Merkel changed that literally overnight. And it's unfortunate. Because now the history of Europe is in flux, and the destiny of Europe is in flux, and there even people over in Europe are saying, "Hey, man, my country is no longer my country anymore." I just saw a woman. Where was she from? I want to say she was from Finland. But there was this woman, she was behind a podium, and she says, and she's laying it out, man, bullet point by bullet point. We got immigration's out of control. We no longer, our culture is being eroded away. We no longer know who we are as a nation. And said, boom, 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 right on down the line. And I'm like, lady, you're preaching to the choir. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And but yeah, she was very eloquent, very, very, very accurate, and very astute. And she's telling the truth. Like I said, thousands of years Islam tried to invade Europe, couldn't do it. And then Frau Merkel literally overnight allowed it to happen. And and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Yeah, the thing is with, I'm sorry, Beck, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the thing is that a lot of those European countries, and I think in part, I think the U.S. has the same issue, is that a lot of those countries, they try to be considerate to immigrants, and I get it. You want to be respectful. They want to try to distance themselves from the whole racism issue, especially Germany because of its history.
Right.
What they don't understand is that there's a lot of nations out there that just come from cultures that are incompatible with your own. So we're just inviting conflicts in the future. People have certain ideologies that are just going to conflict with your government.
True. That sounds racist. You better make sure you're careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has nothing to do. Yeah, but the truth of the matter is, it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with culture. Okay,
exactly.
You can't. Exactly. If you allow another culture to supplant your culture, what happens to your culture? Oh, it's destroyed. Hello.
Oh, now here's one speaking racist. Oh my God.
Well, maybe it's not racist, but they'll say it is racist.
It's nationalist.
Once again, word salad. Okay, word salad. Oh my gosh, you're anti-Semitic, or oh my gosh, you're an Islamophobe, or oh my God, you're this, you're that, you're whatever, and it's not true if but you're focused on trying to secure your culture, save your culture from destruction.
Hey Vaughn, how does it feel, Vaughn, to come on a YouTube channel and be respected as a human? How does it feel?
What's that?
How does it feel to come on a channel and actually be respected?
That's very rare. Very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. I'm the most hated for a guest in the room. I'm the most hated man on the internet. I exposed our buddy Barack Hussein Obama as a CIA asset and a non-American. And so as a result, I'm vilified all over the internet. I'm blocked, banned, cursed at, people wanting to kill me and everything else,
If you stay quiet and you don't tell the reaction community, you'll be okay, because they won't know nothing about coming over here or nothing.
Oh, they already know me. They already know.
No. They don't know you're here now, though.
Oh, you mean now? Yeah, no. As far as I know, nobody knows I'm here. So, as far as I know,
it's great.
So anyway, G-Man, I don't know if I told you, but a couple months back, actually, no, it was November. Actually, I was in New York City. No, actually, in New Jersey, and we visited. Well, it was just me and my daughter. We visited my dad. And then on the way back home, we had to stop in Times Square for a little bit because we had to wait for the next bus for us to leave. And when we were walking down Times Square, I wanted to show my daughter around. It's like, oh, man, well, since we're waiting for the bus, let me take you around a little bit. And we're walking around, showing her the things, showing her the lights and stuff. And I tell you, man, just that one strip where all the movie theaters are and stuff, right, between 42nd, Times Square. My goodness, there was like wall to wall, like dudes that all look the same. Like a lot of them look Hispanic, a lot of them look like Somalian, and they're just standing there, just doing nothing. Like, and there was a whole bunch of them. Like, are these people waiting for a bus to get on, or is this the result of what we see happening at the border there? Because the Governor Abbott from Texas is shipping all of these illegal immigrants to the blue states, which they should. I mean, I live in a blue state, so I'm starting to see some of them creep in my neck of the woods too. And I hate to talk about them like that. Like
it's your jobs goodbye.
But all the
jobs tomorrow.
The jobs are going bye-bye.
We're gonna take your job. You better be careful, gringo. We're gonna take your job.
I take my machete and I culturally enrich you. Yes, I culturally enrich you with my machete.
They don't realize that the illegal immigrant that they're doing is affecting black people first and foremost.
Well, poor people in general, but black.
It's affecting everybody negatively, but I think black people are going to be.
I offended the wrong person. Guess who's in here? The greatest debater of all time is in the background. The man who makes logical points, never stutters, always says something deep. The one,
Alex Jones,
only Loobis.
Loobis. Hey, Loobis. You got somebody hit you on the head, man. You got a knot back there on your head.
Yeah, I have my hair in a bun. I'm at work, I'm at work, so I can't stay really. But I had a question for Veckel. You had said like how the reason the Netherlands seemed to be like such a good place with low crime rate was because they were borrowing the morals of something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Christianity in particular.
Okay. So what Christian countries can you compare that to?
What Christian countries can I compare that to?
Yeah, because the Netherlands seems to be like a good place, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know any 100% Christian environment.
I don't think
a country that's 100% controlled by Christians. I mean, if anything, America is more theistic, but not. I wouldn't say that it's a Christian nation.
So then you're making your you're making your claim based on nothing.
I think that the issue is the culture background. The country is going to be acting on their taboos, their religious principles, and I think that's what he's trying to say. He's not trying to say that it's like a theocracy or something.
No. He never
right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I don't know if it was James who mentioned the Netherlands, right? You said how things seem to be going pretty good there. Okay, and well then, Beckel, then you say, well, that's because they're borrowing someone else's morals. Okay, well then, what? I mean, why don't you just go since you don't have anything to compare it to? Why don't we just go with what the Netherlands are saying? Like, hey, well, guys, how are you making it work here? Oh, well, we're trying to be nice to everyone, and
No, you misunderstood what I was saying. I don't have a problem with there being peaceful environment and the culture there. I mean, even if they're non-believers,
what are they doing over there? I admit that some people in here are speaking on pure ignorance because nobody over here lives in the Netherlands. True don't live there. Veckel don't live there. Vaughn don't live there. You don't live there, Loobis, and James don't live there. What's going on over there in the Netherlands? What's their politics over there right now?
Beats me.
Yep. So you're speaking out of your butt right now too. Moving on.
So
I have a question for James now.
So are you.
James, what? No.
So are you.
I've already talked about my viewpoint on why Europe is the way
just
it is.
admitted that he.
But James, I got a question for you, James.
Okay.
A lot of
change subject. I gotta go.
And Loobis, stick around, Loobis. Don't. He ran the marathon.
Yeah, it worked.
So, James, I got a question for you, James. A lot of atheists claim that atheism is true. That a lot of people become atheists because of something called the "quote unquote" problem of evil, right? My question for you is this: do you agree with that argumentation, or do you think it's plain stupid?
Let's see. Go over the problem of evil.
How about this? I'll do one way better. See, you think a little bit. I like you. You think before you speak. How about I show you? Let's
see it.
There was this famous philosopher named Epicurus. A lot of people don't know that Epicurus was the one. I didn't know for a while too. The Epicurus was the one that brought up the so-called problem of evil, and that nobody was able to answer it. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about, and I'd like to hear whether or not you think this is stupid or not. All right,
let's find out.
So just give me a second here. The video is going to be about 10 minutes long. I can stop if you guys want me to. Okay. So just give me a second here. All right. Everybody to
try to answer it. I said I will try to answer it.
Okay, cool.
Everybody, okay.
So anyway, this is one of the videos on that great channel, Christmas is a Lie. And it deals with Epicurus.
The following features.
All right, tell me if you guys can hear this. Now, Veckel, this one is rated R for Reformation. I think your channel is rated R for Reform, right?
Yes. Content may consider provide graphic biblical text, explicit Christian language. Viewer discretion is advised.
You hear it?
I hear it.
I apologize for that because I can barely see that myself. There we go. I'm going to stop right there. So it says, if God is willing to prevent evil, but not able, then he is not omniscient, right? Is he able? Is he able but not willing? Then he is malevolent, right? I can't even pronounce that. I don't even talk like that, right? And it says
there's some words I just can't say either for some reason. I just have tough time. I know what they mean. I just don't know how to say them for some reason.
Malevolent. Okay, there you go. Malevolent. Okay.
Malevolent. Yeah.
Is he both able and willing? Then whence cometh evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God? And Epicurus was the one that posed this question. And ever since Epicurus did this, everybody throughout history wants to ask the same question, and they believe that these are good questions. So this is what I was talking about. But let me play the video some more. Wearing it as a shirt. The same question there.
Yeah. I can't believe nobody didn't shoot that down in flames right off the bat. Why didn't they shoot it down in flames right off the bat? Because right off the bat, he's making some kind of false dichotomy.
Here we go. He's about to get fooled.
Unknown to Epicurus and his stupid riddle. In his heart there is no God. The scriptures say the fool hath said, and Epicurus made up his riddle. But alas, that fool is dead. And what riddle? That fool did ask. Any fool can easily reply, and can do so with such ease and poetry. It shows his riddle was just a lie. Can you live by the same judgments you make? Or are they just for everyone else? In the fashion of any old hypocrite that just justifies himself. Let's see. Let it be asked of you, Epicurus. Was a fool. He's long since died. If you, Epicurus, really were a good man, why did you, Epicurus, tell such a lie? And if you, Epicurus, cannot answer your own riddle that you yourself did write, what kind of fool should quote you and claim their reason has found the light? So here's the question that answers you. Since you see yourself so wise, what can you see but darkness? If you never open up your eyes, no one can see what they will not see, nor learn what they refuse to know. But claiming your ignorance is also your proof. Well, that's just stupid to the bone. And those who Epicurus this is written, he can't read it because he's dead. But hopefully it will dissuade at least one fool from what he said. So, you claim God does not exist because he doesn't do whatever you think he should. But humanity's base and lustful self, well, that's perfectly fine and even good. Really? Well, here's the riddle that you two face, and you conveniently choose to forget. The same paradox with which you nullify God proves you're just twisted inside your head. And here is now the proof of it, set forth in lovely prose, spoken by a choppy computer voice to rotting Epicurus. Down below, if you're able, but not willing, to stop yourself from your own evil, it can't be said that you are good. And such is true of all people.
Did y'all get that?
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all get that? He's saying if you are able but not willing to stop yourself from your own evil, it can't be said that you are good. And such is true of all people. Who disagrees with this?
I do, because all right, so obviously this is Christian theology. Because in Christian theology, you are taught that you are evil. You are taught that you are bad naturally. This is why you need to go through Jesus in order to look good for the Father. You need to be redeemed. You need to be saved. So if you think that people are evil, then it makes sense to you if you are a Christian, because that's the theology. So like in Islam, they don't believe people are naturally evil. They believe people are good originally or clean originally, but they can be led astray. And that's what makes them unclean. So obviously this person is coming from the standpoint of like, well, you're already naturally evil. So Epicurus, I don't really know much about him. He did bring up a pretty good point, but the problem is that you have to be convinced that sin is a thing. I look at things more of like things that are beneficial to you and things that are not beneficial to you on a personal level, on a societal level, all kinds of things. There's different layers to things. So when it comes to like pork, right? I know like in the Bible or like in Jewish culture and Islamic culture, you're not supposed to eat pork, right? But
No.
if you cook pork, right?
No.
Yeah.
Depends
Well,
on what
the Bible clears it up because it says like it's not what goes into your mouth that makes you unclean and what comes out of it. At least in Islam and Judaism, you don't eat pork because it's not kosher, it's not halal. So Christians eating pork could be good for you, all right, as long as you cook it, right? So something can be beneficial for one person and not beneficial for another person. You just got to figure out what that is. See, I don't believe in telling people that they should become this and that and they should turn away from their faith. My thing is that you have to do what's beneficial from you. But when people go outside of that boundary of telling other people what is good for them or what they think is good for them, then you either infringe on their personal freedom or you impose on the personal freedoms of other people. So when you make like certain bills and stuff like that based off your Christian faith, that don't work for everybody. So
I think what you're
I
missing
think
is
people
though
should have
that
the right to have their freedom at the end of the day.
I think what you're missing is that he's arguing with himself with that question. Epicurus asked the same question towards God. So now this question is being posed towards Epicurus. You said that Christians assume that people are evil. What is Epicurus assuming with this question?
Well, if there is evil in the world, God put it here. That at least
He's
that's what he's saying.
Presupposing there ain't no God to begin with. So he posed that riddle to try to get people to doubt, right? And
actually, I don't think he says that there isn't a God. I don't think he does say that.
No, he's
yeah. It sounds like he's questioning the moral character.
Moral character, yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
But
Because
the
he's
question
saying
here,
here, if you're
when he hears
able
he's
but not
questioning moral
willing to stop
character,
yourself, he's saying that you're not good if you're able to but not willing to stop yourself from doing evil. That's what he's saying.
Right.
He's saying
Right.
you have
And
the
here's the
power, but
thing,
you
there's a
don't have
lot
the
of
will to stop yourself from doing evil. Then you're not a good person. That's what he's saying.
And there are atheists out there that believe that you're good people. That they're good
I
people.
think True is
Very rarely you
think
run
True-
into one that say that they're not.
Who's
Very
in the
rarely.
background there?
True's backstage. He's backstage.
All right, let me get him back in. Hold on a minute. Let me go back.
Yeah.
Over here.
I say people are complicated and they're multifaceted.
Hold on.
People
But
are
let me bring it
complicated.
back in and let's finish watching the video. All right. See what he got to say. You guys ready?
How long is this video?
Because if you're able, but not willing, it also can't be said you're even wise. So your wisdom is just foolishness, and your logic is filled with lies. And if you're willing, but not able, to stop speaking those deceptions, then what is speaking through you is pure evil from its conception. And if it is moral evil from conception, you will to do. How could you stand in judgment of God when it is evil that is coming through you? If you're able to stop your evil, but unwilling to make that choice, why should anyone listen to you? When evil is what you voice, and if you're willing, but not able, then you're evil because you're weak. And your evil is an uncontrolled compulsion that forms each word that you do speak. So why would anyone listen to such an evil man like you, to be the arrogant judge of God for what you think Almighty God should do?
And this is what a lot of atheists do. They judge God, they judge his character. They look at a lot of things in the Bible and they think that they can do a better job until you start asking them what exactly that better job looks like or whatever. You know what I mean? And then they think that they're not evil for judging God, but then having the nerve to sit there and say that nobody can judge them. All right, let me play some more.
O poor Epicurus, if you were able to know God, but unwilling to even learn how, why is your ignorance on that subject a model for so many fools like you? Now, and if you weren't even able to know God in any way, why is such total incompetence an excuse for all the evil men of today? So either you were just plain evil, Epicurus, or you were an incompetent and boorish fool, and what was speaking through you made you a snaky and evil tool. If God does in fact exist, whether for good, evil, or just in the middle, only a very foolish and evil man would make up such a stupid riddle, because if you can't even pass your own paradoxal dichotomous test, it hardly should become the measure of all in the universe that's best. As for you and your arrogant riddle, the answer's already quite complete. God is able to stop our evil, but unwilling to make us extinct. God is able to prevent our evil, but unwilling to charge the case.
Vecco, did you get that, Vecco? True, you there,
I'm sorry,
True?
I wasn't paying attention.
I'm here. I got it.
Listen,
Yeah, I
it says
got
God
it.
is able. He said God is able to stop our evil, but unwilling to make us extinct. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay.
Then it says God is able to prevent our evil, but unwilling to charge the case. Right? Because if God killed off every single evil fool, basically everybody on the planet would be gone. And I don't think
now, you know, I'm sorry. What I forgot your name, sir. What was your name again? I apologize.
Who are you talking about, James?
Yeah, the guy. Yeah. Oh, James is James.
Yeah.
Yeah, James. Now, here's where me and G-Man differentiate, because freedom religion does not believe that mankind fell, and so therefore we don't have that paradigm of having to redeem ourselves from being fallen, because we never fell in the first place. Now, having said that, that does not mean that mankind is good initially, or that is good always, because obviously that's not true. Look at Charles Manson, for example. Okay, so you know, but I did want to, you know, because you brought it up, the fact that you know, in Christianity it says we're fallen creatures, which it does, and Judaism and Islam the same way. But in freedom religion, we don't believe mankind fell. We don't necessarily agree with everything coming out of ancient Sumer, but there's a lot of truth. We believe that you know, mankind is not fallen. But
anything you want to say, Vac? Vackle?
Yeah, it's a very nuanced statement here that requires a lot of nuance. So he says, God is able to stop our evil, but unwilling to make us extinct.
There's more video to this. He's just talking right now. There's about another 4 minutes of this. It says God is able to prevent our evil, but unwilling to charge the case. If God killed off every single evil fool, and I'm about to start it again.
Yeah,
so you
actually, to be honest, go ahead.
The primary problem I still see here, out of everything that he said so far, he's basically avoided making any type of claims on how he knows that this thing is inherently evil or not, whatever it is that God does.
No. This is a response to what Epicurus did. The riddle that we showed in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the show, where he was questioning whether or not God existed and why. Because the atheist big thing is that why does God allow evil to exist? That's been their big thing. Why does evil exist? If evil exists, then how can God call himself good? If Alex Botton was here, he'll be giving you the whole entire script right now on God can't exist because evil exists, right? And they got this from Epicurus. So the gentleman on here is responding to Epicurus by, number one, throwing the question back at his face, and then showing that if God actually did what mankind is asking him to do, and that is wipe out evil right now, every man, woman, and child on the planet would be destroyed. And I don't think they understand that.
Okay, so I think the evil argument really is for you guys, because like me personally, and a lot of atheists, we don't believe in good and evil. Me personally, I can't speak for other atheists. I do not believe in good and evil. I believe that there is things that benefit you in a society and things that do not benefit you personally, and things that do not benefit the society. So
you got like a relativistic view on morality, basically.
Right. So when it comes to like evil, that's really a question between you and your God, because like something can be evil to one God and to another God is not evil. So evil is a conversation.
Let me play this video. I want to challenge you on that.
But the other thing is, when it comes to Epicurus, though, this is what I wanted to say. Epicurus, when they're talking about God, he's not talking about a Christian God. We don't know what the context he's talking in.
Yes, he is.
He's not, because he died before Christianity. He died about 200 years before Christianity even started.
Yeah, he wasn't talking about the Christian God. He couldn't be.
Well, the atheists
he died long before Christianity.
70 BC.
Well, the atheists are using this towards the Christian God. Most of the time when they bring the argument up,
Christians in what do you call it, the late Roman period, in the Middle Ages, were talking about Epicurus. That's how this conversation came up, because they were talking about Epicurus and critiquing him.
There's a lot of atheists on the internet that uses this argument to try to say that there's no God. They say that because evil exists, a good God cannot exist. This is what they actually use, and they got it from Epicurus. Okay, I'll prove that when this is over, and I'll prove to you that you do believe in evil. That I'll prove, and you believe in evil unconditionally. And I can prove that without trying.
It's evil to eat pork in Islam, but obviously, like, you think it's evil to eat pork being a Christian? No.
Let me play this video. I would never use an argument like that. That would be considered dumb. I would never use that argument.
Well, the kind of reasoning is
because if God killed off every single evil fool, it would destroy the human race. Epicurus, you were just another mortal fool who destroyed your life with vain excuses and you left nothing behind you but minions of similar stooges. Is God evil or impotent for allowing us to still exist? Only idiots like you Epicurus would ever think to so insist. Epicureans would quote your riddle, then with sheep they would fornicate. Their minds were so filled with evil, they were famous for being reprobate. Minds riddled with such perversions, so extreme they would rape a beast, are hardly moral authorities on God Almighty to say the least. And only a fool would quote that fool, and reject all eternity, because God lets life continue to live, and won't exterminate humanity. Would it not be better to let fools be fools, and let the wise remain wise, until our days are fulfilled, and all such fools will
I'm gonna
die?
stop it there, because I believe that's an excellent point. Again, that is a video against the idea that God does not exist because evil exists, because we say that God is good. What the atheists will do is they'll say that God is that we claim, we don't, but they claim that God is all good. So because evil exists and he allows it to exist, or he seems to be unable to deal with evil, then God cannot be all powerful. He cannot be sovereign, like Veckel believes, and all of us believe, actually, ain't just a Veckel. You know what I mean? And it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I would.
Throw it right back in his face. Go ahead, True.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to that. I think what people don't get is that God is sovereign. He's not gonna. He's not just like I don't know how to put it. Like, he's not just gonna bless everybody that's good. I mean, he's not just gonna wipe people out of the planet for no reason. You know, the world's complex. There's a lot of people, and there's various degrees of sin that people may commit. Just like the prison system. You're not people. Not everybody deserves life in prison or the death sentence. You know what I mean? Some people commit different crimes, and different crimes deserve different levels of punishment. So God, not only being God, he's the judge as well. He's going to be able to, he's responsible for determining whatever that evil is. So he's sovereign. He's not just going to wipe people out or anything like that. But he said something, James said something that caught my attention earlier. And he said basically that evil doesn't exist, or it's not a thing. That's the kind of reasoning that someone like Jeffrey Dahmer would actually accept. How do you justify that? Like somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer, who gets pleasure from his actions, who thinks that that's acceptable because evil isn't real anyways. How do you rationalize something like that? Is what he did wrong?
I mean, yes, 100%. All the murders that he did were wrong. I mean, I would disagree that he would think that was not evil. He became a Christian before he died. Let's see. Yeah, so when I say that evil doesn't exist, actually, you know what? How about this? Let me say this. Let me say this. Evil is subjective. So obviously, no. All right. So what? All right, so I would agree that stealing is evil. I mean, wrong. I would agree that murder is not a net benefit. I would agree that stealing is not a net benefit. A lot of things that hurt other people, things that hurt yourself, because you can go to jail, you can, be shot, you can be a lot of things if you attempt to do these things. So it is not a net benefit to you, not a net benefit to the society. There are things like that. So like something that benefits, so something that you do by yourself, say that like
See, I would say that it's wrong. We could say that it's evil 100%, and it's obviously because of our religious belief. But the very fact that you would have to admit, as an atheist in your position, that evil doesn't even exist, you saying that whatever Jeffrey Dahmer did was wrong is just a matter of opinion. From his perspective, he was enjoying it. He was benefiting from it because he got pleasure from it. So he would say, well, this benefits me. So his personal opinion from his perspective as an atheist at that time was that it was okay. It was fine. Now you're saying, well, it's wrong. You can't say that it's evil, but really all you can do in that position is offer an opinion.
So is this like a semantic thing, or is it like
I think it's an
Why does
opinion.
because
think
when we look at the word evil, like it's defined as being bad or in a general sense, acting out of morality, incorrect behavior, condition causing unnecessary pain and suffering, thus a net negative in the world.
And of course, you believe that, and you
Well,
believe it.
Yeah, but
you believe it objectively.
but like evil is defined differently when you go to different religions.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, because like Baha'ism don't even consider evil a thing. Islam has
well,
a different
the
view on
issue,
sin.
if you want to make
Islam
it,
has different views on sin.
well, I'll say
with,
this:
like,
if you want to make
atheism.
it, I'm sorry,
So,
G
yeah,
man, go
That's
ahead.
what I asked if it was semantics.
Well, I don't think if you want to get into an issue of whether or not which religion is justified in their belief system, I think that you can look at it from a process of elimination and see which religion is actually justified from a historical or philosophical perspective
But that's a
by
matter
looking at each one of those religions, and then you can say that that belief system is probably more justifiable. But I think that the issue is based on your standard, because you can say anything about any other religion. You can say that they're hypocritical. You can say that they all have different belief systems that vary. If the issue is that morality is just a matter of subjective opinion in your position, then it's more so like jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire as an atheist, because there could be standards that may vary, but most of these belief systems, they have a standard for unjustifiable killing of somebody. You know what I mean? The standards might vary, but under your position, it's just, well, whatever Jeffrey Dahmer did was his subjective opinion. I have a different opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. So why is it that he really did being wrong? How does that benefit society if you can say that something's wrong and the Jeffrey Dahmer can say that something's okay and it's on the same issue? It's just opinion. You know what I mean?
So obviously, when Jeffrey Dahmer is killing people, he's taking it out of his own personal sphere. So he's taking it into the sphere of like the society. So obviously, it wasn't good for him because he got arrested and he rightfully got, beat to death in prison.
Yeah, when he got caught.
Ooh,
So he got caught, but
right.
That's not really saying if it's wrong or not. He just got caught.
It is wrong because it harms someone else. So it messed with someone else's autonomy.
There's nothing wrong with harming somebody else.
So wasn't the net good for the person who got killed by him?
See, that's the
But there's
problem.
nothing wrong with harming somebody else. There's nothing wrong with causing people not to thrive. There's nothing wrong with murder. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff, because according to my opinion, I can get my gun right now and go shoot everybody.
But there is something wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, like, but here's the thing, even with some Christianity, right? Like some people's lives matter and some don't. So like when you look at like the crusade
within Christianity,
yes, within Christianity. So Catholicism is part of Christianity, right? So let's not get into the whole thing of like who's a real Christian and who's like Catholics.
Wait, where you getting this?
Wait. Let me finish. So Catholics consider themselves Christians. They believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God and that he was born for all that other stuff, right? And you need to get through him in order to go to heaven. So Catholics in like the 11th century and everything like that, they're going on crusades. They're going and they're killing Muslims. In some cases, they're killing Jewish people on the way. They saw that those people were less because they were not Christian. These things happen. This is not like these things happened. So obviously it's subjective. So I mean, Christianity exists differently today, but when you go back then, it's a whole different ball game. Now you could say that's for a million reasons. Now it's true. It is for a whole, because it's not just Christianity.
Yeah, but you're making the category error though.
It's not. So like
it is. I'll show you when you're done.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, what you're doing is you're looking at a fringe group of people who had some radical ideas of what the scriptures say, but the scriptures themselves
that's not fringe. It was the Western.
No. What I mean by that is that the scriptures in and of themselves do not prescribe Christians to behave that way. So you got a group of people who claim to be Christian that are looking at passages in the scriptures, and they think that in them they have been given permission to behave in the fashion that is recorded in history. But you can't say that that's not Christianity. That's not what Christ commanded his people to do. Okay, anybody can call themselves a Christian and take the words of Scripture out of context and do these things and say, see, Jesus told me to do it. Okay, that's number one. There was something else you said too. Again, I think, you're welcome to think that, these things are wrong. The problem is, though, that you keep referring to some form of pragmatism of some sort in order to assert that something is wrong. You're looking at somebody, how it benefits somebody. And in my opinion, you're welcome to think that if you wish. However, you still can't answer what G-Man was bringing up before. What if you have an individual who disagrees with that and says, hey, well, I think killing people is wrong, regardless of whether or not I go to jail for it. The fact of the matter is, it's still the right thing for me to do. Why? Because
So I think this all really ties back to the video that G-Man shared on anybody trying to question as to why God doesn't do something or why he does, right? Because as soon as you say that you're an atheist, it's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. There is no way to justify your opinion to dictate to somebody else being wrong or right. This whole issue, for example, of being an opinion that harming somebody doesn't benefit you or benefit society. If anybody goes back and looks at the conflicts that happened with Palestine and Israel recently, Gaza and the Palestinians that were in the Gaza Strip were celebrating the raping and the murdering and those kids that got their heads chopped off. They thought that was a good thing. They wanted that to continue. There's actually an interview that I'll try to send to you guys where there was a Muslim man that was staying in the Gaza Strip, speaking in a very nonchalant way about how they were raping the women that they caught from out in Israel and the family members that they had taken. That whole group of people, because of their ideology, their Islamic belief, were celebrating the harm of Jewish people because from their perspective, Jews are pigs and all that other stuff. So they thought that they basically deserve it. So you can make the argument that harming, and it's just a matter of facts, that the Palestinians and the individuals in Gaza were celebrating the harm of Jewish people, of other people, specifically because of their race and their identity. But it just doesn't work. The relativistic perspective, it just doesn't work because harm can be looked at as a good thing, depending on which group of people that you're looking at.
So if I called it evil, there wouldn't be any pushback, right? Even though the result would be the same, because we're both going to respond to it in the same way. So if a person comes and says, like, I have no problem with murdering, well, I think that you need to be locked up. Well, all right, if they commit a crime, if they commit the crime of murder, they need to be locked up. And that's that. So I don't know what the argument is, at whether it's like, is a problem with me not calling it evil, and that's what you guys have the issue with?
I mean, you can call it evil, but I think the issue is that if you don't have your transcendent source of being God, that's the standard for what's right or wrong, then anything you say is just going to be an opinion. If you try to make an argument based on what is it going to be based on?
But that is also an opinion, because people also have different views on that, because you said that is God, but you're talking about the Christian God. So what if somebody's talking about the Muslim God? What about somebody talking about the Jewish?
Like I said, the reason why I said that earlier, the reason why I said that earlier is because some of these belief systems are self-refuting. Islam popped up 580 years after Jesus Christ died, and there were many conflicts with the Islamic faith. When you look at the Islamic scriptures and all those Islamic scriptures that were actually burned because of the wars that actually happened, they suggest that you look at the Injil and the Torah, the Gospels, and that they're supposed to defend Islam. The problem is that when you look at the Gospels and you look at what the Torah actually says, they conflict with Islamic scripture. So basically, if you're going to use Islam as claiming it being your source of God, and that it came from God, and you're supposed to look at the Torah based on what that says, and the Torah conflicts with it, and that it contradicts it, then that means that Islam refutes itself, because Islam can't claim to be true if it claims that the Bible is also true and the Bible conflicts with it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Okay, so here's another issue. So that when you guys claim Jesus, Judaism refutes Jesus because one, like Jesus is prophesizing like what, Elijah, right?
He's actually prophesied all over the Bible.
All right, well, that's how Christians view it, because they'll like to say that he's prophesied all the way back in what do you call it, in Genesis. That's a Christian view. But when we look at that, I mean, God don't have children like that. Also, God doesn't, and also in Elijah, didn't they say he would be named Emmanuel? Then why he named Jesus? See, this is
well, what it says.
So this is also another person's opinion that you were convinced of, and you saying that refutes, but Judaism refutes Jesus. And if you want to even go back, there's other religions before even Judaism and all these other Abrahamic faiths. So like, what are we doing here? So
that's the thing.
A very, very long time, and people have had ideas of what was a net benefit and what was a net positive and a net negative within their society, and their societies worked differently. When you go,
well, here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it.
So this is just one.
You can look at Judaism. The difference is.
Let me finish. This is people's opinion that have been promoted all around the world, and again, it is the opinion of like a certain group of people who fell for a certain particular ideology. That's what it is. We're just pushing around ideology.
Well, the difference is that with Islam, the entire reason why we have it today is because people who wouldn't accept it were killed. They were beheaded. They were buried to their head and stoned alive. That's the entire reason why we have Islam. Whenever someone would challenge it, or the Jews would point out that it conflicted with Scripture, or Muhammad was made fun of because the Jews realized he didn't know what he was talking about in regards to the gospel that he claims that it came from, they were killed. So anybody who would reject Islam were forced into it. With Christianity, people were slaughtered and tortured for generations, and it survived. And not only that, there were over 25,000 manuscripts that can be compared and contrasted with the Bible outside of the Bible to verify the historicity of Jesus Christ. Even the book of Galatians is actually used as a actual historic document by mainstream secular scholars. So that's the difference. And even the Torah, you're right, that's the entire reason why the Jews are not accepted into the kingdom. Jesus said that he was going to take what was given to the Jews and give it to another nation, bringing forth much fruit. And it talks about how the Gentiles being drafted into. None of that is a conflict with Christianity. Christianity actually uses the Torah without actually changing it. That's what the entire point is to Genesis to Malachi. It's the Old Testament. But there's nothing inside of the Old Testament that conflicts with Christianity at all. There's nothing at all. The book of Psalms, actually, it talks about how they were going to pierce him through his hands and through his feet. That scripture was written 400 years before the Romans borrowed the crucifixion from the Phoenicians. And I think it was about 600 to 1200 years after that. That's when Jesus Christ was actually crucified on the cross. And historians agree that he was crucified on the cross that way. The passage that you're referring to in the book of Isaiah talks about how unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. That was written hundreds of years before Jesus Christ came, and he fulfilled that prophecy. Who do you think of when you read that passage? You're obviously thinking Jesus Christ. So there's no conflict at all with the Torah and Christianity or Jewish belief. There's no opinion there. It's a matter of consistency of what the Scripture says, and even Jesus said. Jesus says in the book of Luke, he says that they came to him and they were questioning Jesus, and Jesus basically said that he started to expound it to the disciples of things written about him, beginning at Moses and all the prophets. Even in the book of Galatians, it talks about how Jesus was the fulfillment of the law, and that since now that grace has come, that we're no longer under the law. So the point is that all over the Scripture, even in the Old Testament, it talks about how Christ was going to come, and that's the reason why there's no conflict. With Islam, it's different. With Islam, there's repeated contradictions inside of the Bible that it claims, for example, that Jesus Christ never died. He was never crucified, and at the same time that you're supposed to follow the Injil if you don't believe him. Well, okay, the Scripture says that Jesus Christ was going to be crucified, that he died on the cross. Even historians agree. If you don't want to follow with what the Bible says, even historians agree that Jesus Christ was crucified. So if that in fact is true, then the Quran can't be correct, because the Quran contradicts that. So that's what I mean by you can look at things through a process of elimination. Not every religion can be true, but if you look at these various religions and belief systems, some of them are justified with facts and evidence, and some are not. And the ones that are justified by facts and evidence, you can look at those standards of right or wrong to see what makes sense.
Islam is a polar opposite of the Christian Bible. For example, the Jesus, in air quotes, in Islam is called Isa, and he did not die on a cross. He paid a man to die in his place. Okay. Also, too, in Islam, the Messiah in Islam is the Antichrist in the Bible, and vice versa. All right. So Islam is technically the polar opposite of the Bible. For example, Muhammad said to slay the infidel wherever you find him, and Jesus said to love your enemies. Okay. So Islam and Christianity are in no way, shape, form, or fashion compatible with one another. They are literal polar opposites in every respect.
All right, so here's the thing. So Islam, I agree, went around and forced people to become part of this religion. Not in all cases, but in the majority of the cases, right? Especially when it happened in North Africa, when it happened in Saudi Arabia, all that stuff. It was through violence, right?
Yes.
But this is also the case of Christianity in Europe, because you did have people who fought against Christianity, but there was violent suppressions to make people in Europe Christian. They stomped out, so-called paganry.
Well, I think it's a little more complicated than that, though. Like, that was more so control of the government, and even there was a lot of things that they were doing, like forcing them to only be able to read in Latin, only allowing them to have a certain perspective that
they wouldn't even allow to read at all at first. They wouldn't even.
That was more so like the government using religion as a means of control. That doesn't really have any bearing on whether or not
it's funny how it's funny how you give Christianity all these benefits of the doubt, even though the history is very similar with Islam. Because when you go to West Africa, it wasn't a violent, conversion. They accepted it. In Indonesia, they accepted it.
No, well,
so here's the thing. So whenever it's in Christianity and there's a bunch of Christians killing a whole bunch of people, well, that's really a government thing, and that's really this or that. But when it comes to Islam, yes, Islam completely, is like they're all for it. They're all murderers. They're all killers and everything like that. Look, I believe that both of these religions come from the same place. They come out of Judaism. Judaism has that stuff in there, especially when they're going back to the so-called Promised Land and they're going and killing all these other Canaanite groups. So it's the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible is a war god. Period. That's why he's called the heavenly host.
No, that's not true. And that's not even a little bit true. Islam does not come out of Judaism. Islam does not come out of Christianity. We don't even.
Yes, it does, because even the word Easter.
The only reason
the word Easter came from Arabic
Islamic belief system is because the ancestors of Ishmael created that religion.
When you look at
how they went about doing it, but it didn't come out of Judaism. It didn't come out of Christianity. Anyone who believes that is buying into that global
Islam
nonsense that's going on.
Islam has roots in Judaism, the old Meccan religion, the pagan religion in Mecca.
You hear what I said,
and
sir?
Christianity. Because
here's what Islam is, but here's what
the word Isa comes from Arab Christians.
Sir, the descendants of Ishmael.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
No. I'm just telling you this though.
The term Isa came from Arab Christians.
Muslims, hold on a minute. Muslims do not worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yes,
they worship the moon. If you want to be technical, they don't worship the God of Abraham.
They worship a God named Hubal. They worship a God named Hubal. Muhammad's parents were left-hand path pagans, sadly, and they had 350 deities, and the chief among those deities was named Hubal. Now, Muhammad, when he took over, He was initially going to keep the 3 daughters of Hubal, but he changed his mind at the last second and just went solely with Hubal, and therefore changed it to monotheism. But initially, Islam was going to be a polytheistic religion. But no, Muhammad's parents were left-hand path pagans. Left-hand path meaning not necessarily nice, by the way. And so they, but they had 350 deities. Chief among them was Hubal. And this is why, they say Allah means God. No, the word Allah does not mean God. That's a lie. The word Allah means greater of God, or greatest of gods. In other words, he was the chief god among the other gods. And so they had 350 deities. None of them were nice, by the way, not one. And yes, rather bad situation. Muhammad started out on the wrong foot from the very beginning, sadly. And when you have darkness and evil as the beginning, it's not much of a step then to think that he would continue that.
I think that the biggest issue is looking at where both of these belief systems, how they started and how they progressed over time. Islam, Christianity, there's no confliction with the Bible at all, with the Torah or the Jewish belief system, and in terms of their text, there was nothing modified or changed. With Islam, Muhammad was basically an illiterate man who thought that he knew what the Torah was about. He got laughed at by the Jews at that time because he was clearly illiterate and didn't understand. A lot of the things that he taught conflicted with what the Torah taught. That's the reason why he had over 700 Jews at that time beheaded and killed. And he started all these conflicts and wars because anybody who would make fun of him or wouldn't agree with him, he would kill. And that's actually the reason why the Sunnites and the Shiites and all those Islamic sects over there, why there were so many conflicts over the years, because there were so many contradicting texts from Islam over the generations, where they actually ended up burning most of the texts. That's why you only have the original, you have the Quran that you have today. There's still conflict over there in those regions because of exactly that, the contradictions inside of the text.
Well, not only that,
Islam originally and over time, it's always been a war-born belief system that was trying to present itself as some sort of relation to Christianity and Judaism. It's not.
Well, that's exactly the point. It is a theology of world conquest posing as a religion. It has religious aspects to it, but essentially Islam is an ideology of world conquest, not a religion. And that's where I think a lot of people miss the mark, to quote a term, is because, they think, oh, well, it has a God in it. It has angels in it, jinn, which are disembodied spirits. It has all these spiritual elements in it, and therefore it must be religion. No, actually it's not. Islam is an ideology of world conquest. Whenever Islam would conquer a non-Muslim country, what did they do? They would stop, drop, and build a mosque. The mosque is not like a synagogue or a Christian church. The mosque is a symbol of conquest over the infidel. All right. This is why I was diametrically opposed to New York building a mosque at Ground Zero, is because I said, no, you can't do that. You don't understand what you're doing. You don't understand that if you're building a mosque at Ground Zero, you're basically saying that Islam conquered us on 9/11. Don't build a mosque there. But see, these people don't understand. They don't do any history. They don't do any research. They don't understand what Islam's real tenets are about. And so they went on ahead and built the mosque anyway. The antenna on top of Freedom Tower is actually a miniaturized version of the minaret, which is a spire in Islam for the call of prayer. And I'm like, you guys don't understand what you're doing.
Hey, Vaughn.
I have another
So
video.
you believe that for Islam, but you don't believe that for Christianity?
Real quick here, because it's almost going to be 10 o'clock soon.
What happened?
And that's when I'm ending the show. I have one more video. Just give me 1 second. I got one video I want to show you guys. It has to do with whether or not America is a Christian nation on the sneak tip. But in reality, they're going to be talking about the Middle East. They're going to be talking about England. Tell me what y'all think about this, Vaughn. I think you're going to find this to be interesting.
Can I ask Vaughn a real quick question?
Muslim,
Yes.
why are you in the Christian country and not the Christians are in a Muslim country which is,
Good
has a
question.
prosperity?
Do you believe England's a Christian country?
Oh yes, it has a big, huge history.
So this country in England, Darwinian evolution is directly against Christianity. Yet we teach our children in school as a fact this is true. In England, you can be gender fluid, change transgenders. In England, homosexuality, men can marry men. What type of Christian country allows men marrying men? What kind of Christian country allows this? What kind of Christian country teaches our children that we evolved from common ancestors and we weren't created by God? So let's establish one thing. England is not a Christian country. England is a secular democracy. One of the British values is freedom of religion. Now, I'll ask you a question. What are you doing in my country? I'm English.
So I would like to actually respond to that.
He does bring up a good point. I mean, why are the Christians allowing, all these the atheists
be careful with the
to do all
words you
this
use.
crap?
You can't use certain words. Go ahead.
I'm careful. I'm trying.
But wait, but how long has England been a Christian nation? I mean, you want to say like England as a Christian nation?
Well, they were a
Sure.
Christian nation for centuries.
England's never been a Christian nation.
Well, it's not a Christian. Well, it's been a monarchy, but it's not been a theocracy. I don't think it's
Well, the monarchy justified its position because of the belief system. But here's
I
the
would
thing.
say that
Somebody had a question for me.
Yeah, I had a question. So when you say that like Islam is an empirical religion, which I agree that it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think that's the same thing for Christianity? I mean, like when they came over here to the Americans,
okay, all right.
I mean, didn't they destroy the indigenous peoples, like culture?
Judaism and Christianity do not overtly say we're going to take over the world by the sword, whether you like it or not. We're going to conquer your land. We're going to take over your nations. We're going to supplant you with our own people. The Christian Bible and Jewish Torah do not say those things.
You're right. They don't. They just do it. Well, the Christians.
Well, they may do it in a roundabout way. Perhaps maybe you're right on there, but it's not overt like it is in it. I mean, Islam would just flat out tell you, we're taking over your country. We're going to kill you. I mean, look what they did to Lebanon. Lebanon was a Christian nation, and they just went in and took it over and killed everybody.
But the fact that Christianity does it more covertly, it makes it even more dangerous.
More subtly. I don't know if it's necessarily a conquest as. You want to talk about the natives. I just happen to be 65% Cherokee, so I can speak to that issue. The so-called natives are not native. They came across the Bering Straits from Russia, and they slaughtered the indigenous black and white folk that were here. Now you say, do you have evidence for that? Yes. We have the Kennewick man and 6 other skeletons as proof that they did, in fact, arrowheads were found lodged in the bones of these dead skeletons. Not only that, but we also have the heads of the Olmecs down in South America as proof that the black folk were indeed in America before the so-called red man ever even got here. So what happened to all these white folk and black folk? Well, they were slaughtered by the red man, obviously. That's the only answer you got. That's the only answer there is. And, so, I mean, everybody kills everybody. Everybody slaughters everybody. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, if you actually read about when the Europeans finally came to America, the Indians were terrified. The Indians were terrified. They said, "Oh my God, the white man's come back to slaughter us," and they were kind of right, because they knew what they had done. They knew they had slaughtered the indigenous white and black folk that were here, and they said, "Oh my God, here's our retribution. Here comes the white man back to slaughter us like we did him." I mean,
well, the truth is about the natives. The reality is about the natives, and I'm native as well. I'm Pawnee and Crow Indian.
Right.
But the truth is about the natives is that 90% of them died out before Europeans actually got settled in here. Most of the Native Americans, they didn't even see a white man until like a long time later. But like the Aztecs and the Mayans and close to the southern tip of the Mexican border as well.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Native American tribes down there that did easily accept Christianity because of the generosity and the respect that they were given. So it wasn't always the conflict. The conflict that was happening with the settlers that came was more so about land and beaver skin and that kind of thing. Christianity slowly came in but it wasn't like you're going to die in the name of Christianity kind of thing. We're going to conquer it. Not like Islam. I wouldn't even say, even though that's the fact, even though that's true about America, though, I'm not sitting over here trying to say that people in the name of Christianity over time didn't try to kill other people in the name of Christianity. The people can abuse belief systems. It's not reflective on that belief system because people use it as a tool of control. But I think the difference is that with Islam, even to this very day in those Middle Eastern countries, if you're a Christian or you stay there and you're not of Muslim faith, you're forced to pay a tax. You're basically a second class citizen to this very day in those Middle Eastern countries. So I mean, the conflict, the way that the barbaric warlike mentality, it's the end result of that belief system, and it's really become a dominant issue all over the planet. I think that's what the difference is. If you really look at it, it's not the same thing.
I think he went for a walk. He'll be back, I guess.
I'm here. I'm here. What's going on?
Not you, Vaughn, the other guy.
Oh, the other guy. Oh, okay.
I have another video, and I want to talk about state atheism and everything, but I guess we can do that in another show because it's gonna be 10 o'clock in about about 24 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll make this open topic now. So if you guys want to talk about something else for 24 minutes, y'all can. But at 10 o'clock, I'm gonna end this. So
hey, Vaughn.
Yes, sir.
But the Great Debate Community is back. Vaughn, don't forget to tell Brett and everybody that we're back. All right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Vaughn.
Yes.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight, man? Shalom to the room. I just want to add real quick, I'm also Native American, Yaqui, and Apache.
Mm-hmm.
But as one that is on a deist position, and you seem to have done a lot of studying into religions, every religion has an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that atheists basically begin at the origin story and become an atheist, or is that like the end result of it?
That's a good question. Based on, what I've experienced and also what I've learned through history, atheism is a byproduct of evil. Plain and simple. You have people that, wish to do evil. And they can't do evil if they've got morality staring them in the face, and they've got God or a group of gods, in my case, that are constantly watching them. And so they need a way to justify evil. So what do? Oh, they come up with atheism, and they use atheism, therefore. Oh, well, there is nobody watching me now. I can do whatever I want. I can go out here and rape, pillage, kill, maim, destroy all I want and feel completely justified in doing so because there is nobody watching over me.
Okay.
I'm reminded of that Rockwell song. I always feel like somebody's watching me.
That's a good song.
That's one of the things that I've seen. I believe that's actually where Karl Marx and Friedrich Joseph Engels got the idea from. Is they just they wanted a way to justify evil. They wanted a way to be able to do things for themselves and not have to answer to anyone. Because atheism doesn't allow you to answer to anyone. You don't have to answer to anyone under atheism except yourself.
Okay.
So how about this? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. So how about this? So I say I'm an atheist in order to make it easy, but I say that I believe in my ancestors, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So obviously, I can prove that my ancestors exist because I'm here, right? So if I venerate my ancestors, I have multiple ancestors. Does that make me polytheistic in a way?
It could. It depends.
So I do believe my ancestors watch over me. So I don't think there's nobody that isn't watching.
Well, all right, well, all right.
Okay.
Look, if you believe somebody's watching over you, you are not an atheist, because the typical atheist, particularly here in the United States, not only doesn't believe there's a God, they don't believe in anything spiritual. I mean, you can talk about angels and demons, and the atheist will just bust up laughing, saying those things don't exist. Okay, so it sounds to me like you're not an atheist at all. It sounds to me like you're in the process of being a spiritualist, but you just don't know which direction to go.
I have a direction. I just can't explain it right. So I just say atheist. It's easier for people.
But you believe in spirits?
If you believe in the supernatural, anything at all, you're not an atheist. At least not an American one.
Not a materialistic atheist. No.
What I believe is that when we die, I don't know, we kind of, parts of us just kind of stay here. That's what it is. I don't believe we go off.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I CBS News of all places. Can you imagine the left news media of all places? They had these scientists on and doctors, and they were talking about life after death of all things. And these doctors and scientists are like, hey man, you know, we've got a major breakthrough where, you know, we can now prolong the body, long after the person is dead. And what they had done was the body had been, you know, brain dead, heart dead, whatever, however you wish to claim it. These people come back and they tell the doctors, yeah, here's what you had for lunch. Here's who your wife's name is. Here's what paintings hanging on your wall in your house. I mean, you know, they were able to tell a minute detail. And this is all on CBS News of all things. I'm sitting there watching that with my mouth hitting the floor. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, literally proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that not only do we have life after death, but we actually retain, you know, because a lot of people say, well, yeah, okay, you know, when we die, you know, our energy, you know, it just dissipates. It goes back to the source. You've even got some pagans that believe that. But no, according to CBS News of all places, you know, when you die, you still retain your cohesion. You are still you. And these people had been dead for, I don't know, hours maybe. And they come back. They said they had the technology now to prolong the body. These people have been dead for a long time. They come back. They was telling them all kinds of cool stuff. You know, hey, you know, I know what your daughter's name is. I know where you live. I know what I know what you had for breakfast. You know, and they were able to tell them minute detail stuff that there's no way they could have known. And it was because they had been on the other side of the veil. And so it's fascinating stuff, man. But yeah, CBS News of all places. I nearly fell out of my chair. And so, yeah, there is absolute proof now, without any question, that, you know, you retain your cohesion after you die. Yes, you do. You know, that, you know, one could still argue about whether there's a heaven or hell or not. But, you know, one thing's for sure, you do retain your cohesion when you die. You are still you after you die. You know, CBS News of all places, man. What a crazy place to prove that there's life after death. But there it is. You know, if I can find the video clip, I'll try and get it up. I've been trying to find the daggone thing. I'm trying to find that video clip and get it put up somewhere. But yeah, crazy, man. CBS News of all places. I'd have never believed it.
Well, I saw something.
So, Vaughn, when go ahead.
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just curious if as you said you've been into a new religion, did you come to a conclusion about your own origin story? Because from what we understand, there's pretty much like three ways that we came about, which is either like biblical, with God using creation, or a form of evolution, and then there's the straight abiogenesis theory, you know, with Darwinism or different forms of evolution, you know, from like gradualism to different forms. Anyways, is there also one that you come across like panspermia? Are you leaning toward that side of origins?
All the above. All the above. Let me explain. All right. There was two human beings on this earth. All right. There's Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon. Neanderthal crawled out of the soup. Cro-Magnon was created by the gods. Now, Neanderthal, though, did not crawl out of the soup as a monkey. Sorry. Sorry, atheist. He did not. He came out as a man. But it's both. It's both. Even Karl Marx. Listen to me. Even Carl Sagan in his book said that Cro-Magnon had, quote, outside help. Now, he didn't elaborate on that because Carl Sagan's an atheist. But yeah, even Carl Sagan in his book said Cro-Magnon had, quote, outside help.
Wait.
And so, so yes, it's both. It's Neanderthal, which came out of the soup as a man, though, not as a monkey. And then you had Cro-Magnon that was created by the gods.
Wait. So wait. I don't understand that, because like, where do everybody else come from? Because Neanderthal is only in Eurasia, and Cro-Magnon was the old term for early European modern human. So where does everybody else come from?
What do you mean everybody else?
So those are only dealing with populations in like Eurasia. That's really dealing in populations in Europe. So where did the African come from? Where did the Native American come from?
Africa. These
are all Homo sapiens.
Well,
those are all
right.
Homo sapiens.
Well, right. The thing of it is that, the out of Africa thing, a growing number of scientists are starting to turn away from that, because as more and more evidence suggests, it wasn't started in Africa. It just wasn't. Sorry. It was started elsewhere.
Where was it started?
Mostly in Asia, I would say. But it was not in Africa. It was in Asia. But here's the thing. It was most likely all the above. It was most likely started in Europe, Asia, and Africa at the same time. See, my belief is different from G-Man's or anyone else's on the board. I believe polytheistic religion. And in my religion, we did not fall. Okay. Not only that, but there wasn't just one man and one woman. There were hundreds of us. And we were, like they say in the ancient Sumerian writings, we were digging for gold for the Anunnaki. Now, where we diverse from that is that, a lot of people will say that the Anunnaki are our creators. No, freedom religion does not condone that. A bunch of lizards from outer space did not create us. However, they may have modified our DNA, but they did not create us. We were created by the true gods of creation. But yeah, there was hundreds of us, not one or two. This is why Lot was not Lot, but what's his face was able to go and get a wife, because there wasn't just two of us. There was hundreds of us, and we were digging for gold for the Anunnaki, and getting our knowledge from them, and that basically that. But I don't know why a lot of the monotheistic religions only say there's one or two men here, one man and one woman here.
And this is where I differ from Vaughn. Obviously, I believe in one and true and living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I believe that we were fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. And I believe that we all need Jesus Christ. So I just want to put that out there, because I am letting Vaughn go a little bit too much with this, and I ain't saying a whole lot. So I just want to make sure I put that out there.
Right, that's fine.
I agree. Well, I believe the same thing that G-Man believes on. I would just say that with the whole man, I do believe that they probably came out of Africa. But all the early Homos, Homo erectus, archaic, Homo Neanderthal, they're all just men. There's virtually no difference among any of them, and that divergence from man, and where chimpanzees, they diverge from one another. There's absolutely no evidence for those new variants of DNA across the chromosomes, the telomeres, where that new kind of information can come from.
Well, see, that's
probably
that's the thing, though. The chromosomes don't match. They don't match at all. This idea that we have a common ancestor with a monkey is ridiculous. The chromosomes don't match. If the chromosomes matched, we would be able to procreate with apes and monkeys, and we can't do that.
Well, I think the biggest issue that a lot of people don't get is that people talk about evolution and creation as if it's like that's the topic. Every time there's criticisms towards evolution, that's the first thing that people go to. He's a creationist. He's something like that. Yeah. Creationism doesn't really have anything to do with the findings of evolution. I mean, if you look at just the Cambrian era, the Precambrian was what was it, like like how many billions of years. It took about like
Something like that.
98% of the geological time scale.
Mhm.
There is no evidence whatsoever of all the major phyla coming into existence. You just see a couple of cyanobacteria and a couple of stray organisms, but there's no evidence whatsoever of divergence. And then after that, you have all these conflicts in the geological time scale with organisms popping in that shouldn't be there, like corpulite, certain grasping found in dung that shouldn't have been there for at
Correct.
least 100 million years after the fact or whatever.
'Cause they
So I
were
mean,
put there.
the conflicts that I have with evolution doesn't really have anything to do with creationism. It's their own findings conflicting with it. You know what I mean? Their own findings in evolution conflict. I think there's a National Geographic video that I shared on my channel where you hear someone like Richard Dawkins talking about how we have all of this evidence for men coming into existence, and all you need is this missing link. And these scientists who are not even into this great debate, crap. Well, it's not really a great debate anymore. I think the great debate community is pretty much dead by now. But if you look at what they say, they're just speaking in a very nonchalant way that there's basically no evidence at all for men coming for men diverging from the apes, and that the amount of evidence that you can find is just basically bone fragments that you can find and fit into a shoebox. So my issue is evolution itself. It doesn't hold up to scrutiny when you actually look at it. As a matter of fact, you find a lot of conflicts. There's no gradual development. It's just this random mess with things that seem to already just pop into existence. If we're just going to be honest.
So if you guys don't know who was talking, that is my buddy True Empiricism. I want to give everybody a quick look at his YouTube channel if you're interested. True Empiricism was back in the Great Debate days. James, you can take a look at it too if you want, so you can know who you're talking to. If you're not aware of him, he did a show back then called "Bring It Evolutionists." Pretty good show that he did back then, where he uses expertise to argue against evolution, and it made a lot of noise in the audience. I think this was you made this channel. I'm sorry, you started doing Bringing Evolutions before the Non Sequitur show, right? True.
Yeah, I did that for years, man. I don't know if it was. It was way before the Non Sequitur.
So if you guys want to go support him, you can go to his channel. I don't even know if you still actively do YouTube, but if you guys want to, you can go to subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's True Empiricism, and like I said, he's pretty good at the evolution argument. Wait
a minute, we're not on YouTube right now. We're on. Where are we at?
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube.
Oh, we are on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. You don't know where you are?
I thought you said.
The reason why you're safe, on, because I won't let nobody come in here.
Well, I thought maybe we were on Rumble or something, because I thought you said.
No, I changed the settings on this.
Okay.
If I would have invited those guys in here that normally attack you, there'll be 300 people watching right now. But I said, nah, I'm not interested. So
well, all it is a distraction.
On.
All it is a distraction anyway.
Yeah. Plus, I want to go back to having these conversations again. I'm going to bring this back because the atheist, for the most part, has had free reign on here. There's not that many people over there on here no more speaking out against them. So I'm going to start doing it myself, as well as talking about
YouTube,
prophecy and other
I
stuff.
think YouTube's going to be going down the tubes anyway. No pun intended.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people come out.
Yeah,
But I got a question also. And you're a former Christian, correct?
Who, me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a former Christian, yeah.
Okay. How do you deal with things like Revelation? The book of Revelation, like chapter 13 and that mark of the beast, that if you're into conspiracy theories, which I believe you are, sir, maybe not a whole bunch, but perhaps some. I'm sure you've heard of like RFID technology or the mark of the beast or the vax or whatever.
I can answer that very easily. That is sure. Super easy to answer. You have a bunch of rich oligarchs that have tons of money, and they're constantly bored and they're constantly wanting things to do. And they're like, hey, let's make the book of Revelation seem to come alive. We'll spend money. We'll spend money on locating the ashes of a red heifer. We'll spend money on trying to place the chief cornerstone. We'll find money and try to, they literally take their money, their wealth, and they seem to make the book of Revelations come alive. And they do this because in the book of Revelations, there's the Battle of Armageddon, which is what they want. They want a World War III. They want the Battle of Armageddon. And the reason they want the Battle of Armageddon is because it would be a blood sacrifice to their demon overlord named Moloch. And so they want this. Now, this is spelled out in Albert Pike's book. You can go read his book for yourself if you doubt me, where he states categorically that they must have 3 world wars. They must have it. Okay, so the book of Revelation speaks about the Battle of Armageddon, which is a world war. And so they want this. And so they're literally making the book of Revelation seem to come alive in order to justify the need for the Battle of Armageddon. And they'll make that seem to come alive too. They'll make it seem like it's real as all get out. There may even be real bullets flying. I don't know. We'll have to see. But
Okay.
I know for me personally, we got to do everything in our power to make sure they don't get that 3rd World War, because if they do, first of all, humanity will suffer as a result. But number 2, this demon would get enormous power. And I don't want that demon to get any more power than it already has. So it's critical that we don't let them have World War III by whatever means necessary.
Are you talking
Okay,
about
okay, well, I am familiar with the prophecy, supposedly,
Right.
that was housed at the British Museum, and it was the 3 world wars, and the last world war was supposedly fundamental Christians versus Islam or Mohammedanism, and it would destroy each other, which would basically tire out the entire world, and atheism would be promoted at that point, right?
I
I would say so.
with
We're
that,
probably
but
in the 3rd World War right now.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, you're talking about the 3rd World War, the 3 World Wars, sir. Yes, I used to post that regularly on Facebook, showing how Masons actually have a hand in world events, and I would argue that atheism was pushed by the Freemasons as agitators, as it said in that prophecy from Albert Pike. And I'm not trying to call him a prophet. It's just whatever he felt the need to write, it seems to have come true, and with pretty good accuracy, because the 2nd World War was about Nazism, and he called that out way in the early 1900s before Nazi word was actually used.
Well,
at least in the public.
you have like I said, you have rich oligarchs with lots of money and lots of time on their hands, and so they make these things come to pass. And they use their money, their wealth, their ability to influence governments to make this come to pass. When Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated by this Serbian group called the Hand, who do you think funded them? Rothschild. Rothschild funded them. Okay,
I get that,
and that assassination of Archduke Ferdinand is what started what? The First World War. Okay.
But my point is, sir, don't you see it fascinating that it is still prophesied, whether it be self-fulfilling, whatnot, that in John the Revelator knew that this would happen, regardless of how you want to say it came to be, and that this implementation will basically be very useful in a new world order type atmosphere. Correct?
Of course. They'll use anything. Okay. They'll use anything to get their agenda across. But here's the thing about prophecies. Okay, prophecies don't have to happen. For example, in the Bible, it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, I will look down from heaven. I will something and heal their land. I forget how exactly.
Heal their land, correct.
Yeah. So the prophecy doesn't have to happen so long as there are dozens of Christians on this earth praying. The inference being that this book of Revelations, the Battle of Armageddon or whatever, does not come until Christianity is pretty much wiped out. Because as long as, my understanding is that long as there's Christians praying on this earth, it doesn't have to happen at all. It shouldn't have to happen at all. So what's going to happen? Well,
but that would mean that
Well, what's going to happen is,
But what
you've
does
got
that mean?
the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Carnegies, etc. What they're going to do, they're going to launch a campaign against Christianity to wipe out the Christians, and thus simulate the idea and the need for the Battle of Armageddon. Watch it happen, because that's going to be the next shoe to drop, most likely. Now, hopefully, my gods will intervene on that and not allow that to happen, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
But
wait and see. Bye.
I apologize
bye.
to everybody that
Cut
came
the
late.
music, yeah.
Thanks for letting me on, man.
Here.
I hear the music. Bye.
We will see you guys
I have
next
one more.
time. We're going to try to stay on topic till next time.
All right. See you guys.
And one more point.
Check out Mon over on Odyssey. Check out Myths on YouTube. True Empiricism on YouTube. And James, wherever he may be. James, where's your YouTube channel, James?
Oh, I don't got a YouTube channel.
All right. So James starts.
Well, I guess this one that I'm using.
All right. Got it. All right, guys. Read your Bible and do what it says, guys. God bless.
Thanks for letting me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome anytime.
Take care, Jimmy.
All right, later.
Have a good night. Nice talk.